Ladies and gentlemen, I know there's several people in the audience. If you would like to speak, there's a sign-up sheet up here. If you would like to, if you're planning on speaking, please come up to the front and sign in. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to call to order the Oregon City Council regular meeting for August 11th, 2025. The time is now 7 p.m. Please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Ms. Snyder, would you please take a roll call vote of council members?
Mrs. Ackerman?
Here.
Mr. Drake?
Here.
Mr. Horniak?
Here.
Mrs. Pauloff?
Here.
Mr. Reeves?
Here.
Mr. Solander?
Here.
Mr. Wallensack?
Here. Thank you, Ms. Snyder. Please note that all council members are present. Also present at tonight's meeting is Mayor Safarian, our city administrator, Joel Major, our clerk of council, Josette Snyder, our law director, Melissa Papora, our public service director, Paul Roman, our police chief, Brandon Began, is not here tonight, but that's fine. Assistant Police Chief Ryan Spangler, Fire Chief Clayton O'Brien, our Assistant Fire Chief Mark Mullins, our Finance Director Nick Roman, and our Building and Zoning Commissioner Stephen Schrake. The next order of business is to approve the meeting minutes from the July 28, 2025 regular council meeting and the August 4th, 2025 Committee of the Whole meeting. Council.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Horniak.
I move for approval of the minutes of the July 28th regular and the August 4th Committee of the Whole meeting as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Horniak.
Second.
Second by Mr. Drake. Does anyone have any objections? Hearing none, meeting minutes are accepted as presented. The first item on the agenda is persons and delegations. We have the sign-up sheet here. With as many people that are signed up to speak, we are going to try to limit it somewhere between 3 to 5 minutes. If you can, and then once we get close, I'll let you know that you're getting close to the 5 minutes, okay? So first on the, that is signed in is Laura Davis. Ms. Davis, if you would come up. Please name and address for the record.
Laura Davis, 5494 Bay Shore Road.
Thank you.
Okay, and I'm here to speak against the data center. I'm sure maybe hopefully a lot of others are here, and hopefully more people will get up and speak against it. But we're just concerned about the property values going down. It'd be an incentive for people to move out of Oregon if their property values are down and they have to live by the data center. Also, it's going to use excessive water and electric. And if they have to get water from Toledo, it's going to cost everybody here, not just this. It's not going to be paid by the data center. It's not going to be paid by the city. I used to work for the city of Toledo, and when they sell water to other communities, they charge us for it, not the city, not the data center. So, and there's going to be lower water pressure, and we're paying more for it. And then also the power grid, there's a lot more power being used. Our electric rates are going to go up. And I was wondering, I don't know how to go about it, but if we could get this on the ballot for November and have all the citizens vote instead of just the council vote on it. I mean, does anybody have input how I would go about doing that?
Mr. Mason?
Mr. President, we can talk afterwards and we can walk you through the process.
Okay, and then I've heard that some of the money is supposed to go to schools. Exactly what percentage is going to schools? I mean, the way I heard that it's all going to the city for their budget, and then I heard that it's trying to get approved to go to schools, which I think is just a smokescreen to get it approved, saying it's going to go to schools, and really it's not going to go to schools. Or what percentage is it? And then there's the noise factor. Also, I heard there's a humming sound that's continuous. People live nearby, are sensitive to sounds, and noises like that. So anyway, that's all I have to say. I hope more and more people get up and speak. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, we'd like to try to comment, because some people might have similar questions, because there's a lot of innuendo out there on what the same questions you raised, and we'll take turns up here answering some of the questions. Number one, I would like to address the combination of the tax incentives and how they'll be dispersed. Because this qualifies as a mega project, we would be permitted by the state of Ohio to do something called payment in lieu of taxes. And when we negotiate that number, we will be doing a 50-50 split with the Oregon school systems. I can't tell you the number, because we haven't had that negotiation yet, but I know the ballpark of that number, and the city of Oregon gets most of its revenue to operate the city through the 2.25% payroll income tax. A lot of people think, well, I pay my property tax, you're getting a lot of money. The city of Oregon, out of your property tax, really gets approximately 4% of that. And I've told people, many people, that the amount of money the city of Oregon gets from property tax would not even pay for your garbage pickup. So our real lifeline is the 2.25% payroll income tax. And if we did not have an industry that qualified as a mega project where we could do the payment in lieu of taxes to get the kind of money that we will likely get from this data center, we would have to have an employer that employs approximately 8,000 to 10,000 people. That's what kind of money we're talking about here. And that's the first question. So schools and us will benefit equally through our payment in lieu of taxes. Mr. Mazur, you were going to go on Mr. Roman will address the water issue, because that really isn't an issue, but we'll go with the water thing next. Mr. Roman.
Thank you, Mr. President, if I could. In response to the water, just so everyone knows, our plant capacity is 16 million gallons per day. That's how much water we can produce. Our average demand is around 9 million gallons per day, and our peak demand is hit right around 13.8. So I tell everybody, when it comes to economic development, we have about 2 million gallons per day available for future development. Seems like a lot, and we've been in a planning stage for a plant expansion for about 2 years, and we're in the preliminary design right now for that. But this development says that their demand will be 30,000 gallons a day, which is not a lot. I mean, we can easily provide that. I think it gets confused, and this happened at the Planning Commission on the zoning change. It got confused with the power plant, which has been in the works for a long time, planning. The second power plant, the city of Oregon worked out an agreement with the city of Toledo to provide water to that site only, but to run the water line, that is on the cost of the power plant. All water purchased is on the power plant. That has nothing to do with us buying the water from Toledo. That's that single entity buying that source of water from Toledo. That's not us, okay? So just so you know that. And the second power plant's demand is gonna be around 12 to 14 MGD. Because they have carbon capture, which is a part of their design. Anyways, so things get confused with that. That's not this data center. They're 30,000 gallons a day. We can easily provide that with what capacity we have right now. The second power plant is gonna be buying Toledo water, but that's not us paying for that. But Joel had a write-up that he provided to council that says, look, when we have big water users, that does keep our rates down, okay? I'm just telling you, and when we do a capital improvement, we come up with what's called a capital improvement charge, and it is basically your annual loan payment for a capital project divided by your water used in a given year. And so it comes out as a cost per 1,000 cubic feet. Well, if you have more use of water, more users, that loan payment's the same payment, so you divide it by a greater volume, it's a less cost per customer. So it is nice to have big water users, and we do have some big water users, and that's why our rate is probably the lowest in our area, if not the state. But it is a good thing to have big users, but for this case, they are not. And like I said, I just don't want it to get confused with the second power plant, which they'll have their own line built from Toledo, and they're paying for that. That's that second power plant. So hopefully that answers the questions. I am happy to answer more on it.
Thank you, Mr. Roman.
Yep.
Mr. Major, you finished?
Thank you. No,
No, go ahead.
Yep, thank you.
Mr. Major.
So I wanted to talk about what I had sent to all of City Council a little bit, so everybody knows. A little bit of this has to do with the history. The site that we're talking about is located on the northwest corner of Wynn and Corduroy. Okay, when you look at the 2006 Citywide Comprehensive Plan, that site was designated as an industrial development since that time. So we're talking nearly 20 years ago, this was a planned industrial site. So the city and some of the members on this council were a part of this, but over the last 8 years, the city has been assembling land in the industrial park for industrial development. This isn't anything new. There was also, Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, there was a $3 million grant from the EDA, which is the Federal Economic Development Administration, to build the road. This would be Windscape Road, that was built for Michigan loads. That's for industrial use. It was built that way because, again, it was a planned industrial site. And we're talking industry, not advanced manufacturing. So I'll get to that in a second. But over that 8-year span, the city has spent about $8.6 million assembling this land as an investment to try to get an industrial development to help with the tax base. Create jobs, payroll income tax, everything that goes with industrial developments. And so everybody knows that at some point in 2024, there was an industrial user interested in the property. And we're talking industry. Now that project didn't pan out, but on the heels of that, a data center project was interested in the property. So the data center came forward and said, hey, we're interested in the property. We want to get into an agreement. So an agreement was drafted. So this in November of 2024, the agreement was drafted, presented to City Council, which was passed unanimously. And at that time, everybody spoke in favor of it. But if you look at what a data center is compared to any other industry, I've been to the ones in New Albany. They are aesthetically pleasing. They have landscape features, buffering, setbacks, much of what is detailed in the Oregon Municipal Code. And in that is the code section for advanced manufacturing, a zoning designation for advanced manufacturing. And then in that zoning designation that was created just a few years ago, somebody will have to help me out here, that was 2022 or 2021? 2019, okay, thank you. In 2019, that was created, and that was to help buffer between the industrial park and anything else going east. So I believe it was 2023 when City Council also, and the Planning Commission also approved of the rezoning of some of the land over there to advanced manufacturing. And that is a light, call it a, for lack of a better word, a light industrial use. I think it's important that we talk about this history and the amount of investment that's been going into this for all of this time. For nearly 20 years, this has been planned this way. And now that we're on the cusp of, and I got to defend everybody here up here that voted on this, because this was a planned industrial park for a long time, and this is the follow-through. This is the city following through on something that's been started for a long time. And not only that, but subsequent to that approval of that agreement, from last year, there were some properties that were purchased. So what I'll refer to as 40 acres near that area, the Gratz family property, $1.2 million. And then there were 5 houses on the corner, which were appraised, and an offer was made. Options were acquired, and 5 houses for about $2.5 million in total. So that's an investment that the city made to see through the industrial development of that land, the northwest corner of Corduroy and Wynn Road. I think we need to be talking more about facts. A lot of what's been stated that's out there isn't true. When we talk about electric usage, Paul addressed the water issue, but what I had sent to City Council is a write-up that's tailored to this site specifically and what we're dealing with here in Oregon. The electric use. When it comes to the electric usage, it's very complicated. There are multiple facets. But when you talk about transmission costs, when you talk about capacity costs, and when you talk about generation costs, they're all in different buckets. I'm sure everybody has seen the increase in the electric rates more recently. But electric rates are set regionally. It's not if a data center is built in Oregon, only Oregonians' electric rates, because the demand goes up, only the electric rates here go up. No, it's regionalized throughout the PJM territory, which covers 13 states and includes Washington, D.C. The transmission rates are set regionally by, in our case, we're in the first energy territory, or also called the ATSI zone. So those transmission costs are spread out amongst a large pool of people. So yes, data centers are big electricity users. But if it's built in Oregon, Oregon gets the benefits of the tax revenue from it. If it's built in Wood County, Oregon does not get any of the tax benefits from the project. I think we need to keep that in mind, that you're talking multiple billions of dollars of investment being made in this data center project. If that all comes to fruition, that tax value is realized in the city of Oregon and for the school system. So I think we all need to keep that in mind when we talk about, they're going to use a lot of water, and I just want to make sure that we have the correct information out there, and then we're talking about the facts here. One thing I did want to point out also is that the school superintendent was here, I believe, in the November meeting, and he spoke in favor, and he was with some school board members, because they too realize what high impact and high yield this project can have for the school system in terms of revenues. And today, it's dated today, the school superintendent sent a letter in support of this data center project, because they realize that this will be very impactful in a positive way to the school system. So I want to make sure that, we're talking about the impacts that this project can have for not only the city of Oregon, but also the Oregon City School System. So I think that covers it, so I'll leave it at that.
Could we get a copy of that letter for the record, please?
Yep, I've sent it to all council
Okay.
members, and I'll provide a copy to Josette, and I think Josette was on it. Yep.
Next up on our list tonight is Jim Davis. Mr. Davis, please name and address for the record.
Jim Davis, 5494 Bay Shore. So, two things I'd like to address. One, I'm an engineer with the state of Ohio. I'm a professional engineer. I've done a lot of large industrial projects.
Mr. Davis, could you please try to speak in the mic if you could,
Yep.
please? Thank
So,
you.
I really do question the 30,000 gallons per day. I've done large projects that involve cooling systems, and I do not get that number. I don't understand that number. There are other ways to cool water, but there's what they call a fin fan, which is a essentially a large heat exchanger. But that adds a lot of noise because the fans do generate a lot of noise because they have to move air. The other thing is I know that these large industrial users get preferred rates on electricity. So, so the question is, do we end up paying for their subsidized rates? And also, the cost of building the infrastructure for the power transmission is passed to all of us. So I would expect Toledo Edison want to recover their cost for installing all of that transmission capacity. So it's just an impact on all of us. The other thing I want to talk about is the Boom Fest. Constructive criticism. We had a lot of food trucks, very few tables for people to sit at. We were at the Maumee Festival. They had plenty of seating, more than they ever did last year, as a matter of fact. So I would encourage for the future to have more seating for people to eat. And then the other thing is, I think the lineup was good, attendance was good, but it was scheduled against the Maumee Summer Fair. I don't know if anybody realized that, but I think there were a lot of comments about it should be in July. I really encourage to make sure we schedule it at least in July, not necessarily the 4th, because yes, there's a lot of things going on the 4th, maybe the week after, weekend after, something like that. And in general, I like the bands. The last one was a little weird, but Grape Smokers were great. The Eric Clapton experience was excellent. I love that. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Mr. President.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, and I agree. That's all the picnic tables we had. We're going to try to accumulate more, but we every year try to add to it to make it better. Scheduling. You're right. The first choice was to have it a couple weeks after the 4th of July. It's a terrible time to have it on the 4th of July weekend itself. Just so many factors. But scheduling becomes a real issue late in the game to schedule then. And then we had the rib-off to compete with. That was on the first day. So there was conflicts everywhere, but traditionally we like to get that second week after the 4th of July, and we'll certainly try for that next year.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Major?
Thank you, Mr. President. So I wanted to touch a little bit on Mr. Davis's comment about the data centers. The noise issue, we do have ordinances in place that any developer, anybody that would operate on that site would have to adhere to. And that noise ordinance, I did visit the one, I think you were at the Planning Commission meeting as well. In visiting that, I was at the property line and I had a noise meter with me, and it read 66 decibels at the property line, which really is almost like ambient noise. So they're well aware of the municipal code and what they would have to comply with. That's why the advanced manufacturing, the beauty of that and that zoning designation is that it does provide for more setbacks. It keeps things off the roads and away from any of where the houses are at. And I think it's important to note that they're fully aware of it. And data centers, you see a lot of things on the internet about data centers, and there are different generations of construction for data centers. The first generation, second, the older generation versions of them didn't take into account a lot of the concerns that people have and lessons learned. They don't use a lot of water now because they use closed loop systems because of the criticisms that some of the data centers have received. So they would prefer not to have use a lot of water and take those kinds of criticisms because they don't want to be bad community partners. They want to be good community partners. Same with the noise. Looking at some of these sites, what is a data center? It's a large building full of servers. And servers need temperature controls. And with temperature controls, you have a lot of HVAC units. So, they keep them, a lot of what I've seen is they keep them enclosed to keep any kind of noise at a very minimum. And, they've evolved since these first generation versions have been built. So that's what I wanted to point out also on the noise.
Thank you, Mr. Major.
Thank you.
Mr. Roman.
I just wanted to comment, yes, it's a closed loop. I'm a professional engineer as well, and I can tell you the first power plant learned to cycle their water longer, and it's less revenue to us, and it was tough knowing that they got better and better at using less water is the point. But the point I wanted to make is one of the reasons they looked at our area is the transmission lines are already there. They're already, and they already have the natural gas, they have the transmissions line, they have 2 power plants already existing and a third one's planned, so we're like an ideal location. And I can tell you from the previous development we thought we had, I was worried about all the infrastructure that would have to provide. There was gonna be a lot of jobs, a lot of traffic, and I love a challenge, but it was gonna be a lot of work and money for the city. With this, there's no infrastructure for this. I mean, it's all within their site. I mean, we can accommodate it, so for what it's worth.
Thank you, Mr. Roman. Next to speak is Michelle Quilder. Mrs. Quilder, if you would, name and address for the record. For us.
My name, Michelle Quilter, 4810 South Teal Lane, Oregon, Ohio. Mr. President, Mr. Mayor, honored guests of council and guests. I am president of Oregon Jerusalem Historical Society. With me tonight are several trustees and volunteers of our historical society. First, we wish to congratulate you on a very successful Boom Fest. We are excited that you'll be joining with us on December 6th when we bring to the community OJHS Community Christmas. New this year will be a Whoville Village with a real live Grinch and a Dickens Christmas Carol with carolers dressed in 19th century clothing. This 62-year-old nonprofit organization thrives because it is considered a treasured community asset. It is supported by passionate and committed, unpaid volunteers. We are here to update you on the progress of our demolition at 1119 Grasser Street, and to ask you to now transfer the $30,000 in funds that were originally appropriated to the society back in April of 2023 so that we can get our contractors paid. We are nearing completion of the project. The new entry door will be installed this week or next. While we now have a lot of landscaping to do, the grounds look very nice, and we cannot be more pleased with the contractors that we selected for this project. They are TAS Electrical Contractors, Erie Environmental, Dymec Services, Brewer Group, Great Lakes Concrete Restoration, Nordman Roofing, Stafford Doors, and Pascal and Bin and Sons Excavating. The Historical Society has made all of its own decisions regarding our contractors, without any influence from the city, council, or the administration. For the last several weeks, I've watched our city council meetings with interest on YouTube. What I'm seeing is our council, our mayor, and our city administrator having to defend the city and themselves over an issue that is strictly between OJHS and our previously selected contractor, Groundworks Excavating. I am here to explain again that this demolition project is being done through a grant that was awarded by the state of Ohio solely to the Historical Society. It is being administered by the Lucas County Land Bank. The City of Oregon merely assisted us in writing the grant and in writing the scope of work, which we do not have the talent or the expertise for. In an agreement between us and the Oregon Economic Development Foundation, they are paying our contractors and we are reimbursing them because this is a reimbursement grant from the state of Ohio. And when those funds come in, we will be paying back the OEDF. The $30,000 coming from the city was appropriated back in 2023 for building repairs at Brandville School Museum Complex. We asked the city to hold this money and to pay it out for this 2025 grant. It was a strict stipulation of the Lucas County Land Bank that before any work could be started, a signed agreement needed to be in place between the owner and the term sheet contractor. To answer any questions you may have as to why we had to switch demolition contractors so late in the project, it's because the owner of Groundworks told me personally over the telephone that he could not do the job. His exact words to me were, "No, I cannot do the job." This call came in at 5:45 on May 21st as I was walking out the door to meet with him and try yet again to have him sign our agreement. At the time of his call, he was up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. So obviously he had no intention of meeting me for the scheduled appointment. I documented our conversation and asked one of our trustees to get a hold of the next bidder for the project. Trustees Linda Rossler, Rob Gerhart, and I have months of documented texts, emails, and phone calls, beginning in November of 2024, where we tried to get an agreement signed with Groundworks. Finally, with the directive from our own board of trustees to either get the contract signed or to move on the morning of May 13th, the three of us, Linda, Rob, and I, sat for an hour in Key Bank's conference room waiting for Mr. Aaron Gray to come and sign our agreement. He didn't show. His representative finally picked up all 4 copies of the agreement about 6:00 p.m. that evening, and we never saw them again. What we did get, though, was a revised bid that had increased by $9,000 and was backdated to November of 2023. It came to our email. We tried repeatedly to work with his ever-changing requests. With 5.5 weeks before the state's mandated deadline for completion, at risk of losing our grant with no agreement in place, and Mr. Gray's decision not to perform the work, we ultimately needed to move on. I did send a certified letter to him terminating our interest in working with Groundworks, but he did not accept it, saying that he was advised not to. The United States Postal Service tried presenting it to him 3 times before the letter was sent back to OJHS on June 23rd. And I have it in my possession. We moved forward with the next best bid, and the contractor who stated they could get our project completed on the state's mandated deadline. That bid came from Pascal Bin and Sons, whose bid was $31,525 lower than the revised bid submitted by Groundworks. They completed our project on time, in a skillful manner, with respect to our property, following all the rules mandated by the state of Ohio, paying prevailing wage, and doing certified payroll. Our legal counsel, Mr. Mark Wagner of Shoemaker, Loop, and Kendrick, has reviewed all of our documentation and our contracts, and it is in his opinion that there have been no breach of contract made by OJHS with Groundworks. There is no legal liability to the City of Oregon, as you are not even party to the contract. And there is no legal liability for Oregon Jerusalem Historical Society. In fact, to be sure that Mr. Gray receives our next communication, our attorney, Mr. Mark Wagner, would like a copy of his letter, which has been mailed and emailed to Mr. Gray, to also be given to our city council. So there is no mistake that we will pursue further action if he continues to interfere with our project efforts.
Thank you, Mrs. Quilter.
We have a letter for you.
Thank you.
Is there any questions?
No, but thank you. Up next is Amy Mottmiller. Ms. Mottmiller, if you would, name and address for the record.
Amy Mottmiller, 5040 Corduroy Road. Tonight is simple question. Is this project of the data center for our community or to our community? Rezoning the property on Wind Road from agriculture to advanced industrial is not a small step. Once it's done, it will never go back. It will set legal precedents that opens the door for more and more industry to push deeper and deeper into our neighborhoods, one house after another. This data center will consume enormous resources. I haven't seen any data that says 30,000. It's 300,000 and up is what it usually says. I've seen numerous research papers on it. And yes, there's new ones that do recycle it, but do we have a guarantee from this company that they're going to do a recycle? We don't have any of that information. How do we know that's not going to be? As well as it does take a toll on our water costs because it does take a toll on all of the mechanical stuff at the water department. That's all being used more if we're producing more water. It also uses that water every single day, as much electricity as 50,000 homes. Meta says that they'll eventually have a gas generator to help with the power. Natural gas generators, after approval and preparation, take about 36 months to build. Until then, the strain will be on our local grid, and the cost will land with residents, while Toledo Edison is scrambling to keep up. Light pollution will erase the night sky for nearly a mile in every direction. Migratory bird paths will change, hurting local businesses that benefit from the income of visiting birders that travel to our community. Wildlife in Pearson Park will suffer from nonstop light and noise. And here's a deeper problem. Too many citizens already feel discouraged. They believe that the city will move forward no matter what we say, that our voices don't matter. That kind of mistrust erodes the foundation of good government. When leaders stop listening to the people, the decisions they make, no matter how how they justify it cannot truly represent the community. We also need to talk about the future. The estimated life of a data center is about 20 years. After that, what are we left with? A massive shell of used up technology sitting in our backyard? Will it be redeveloped? Will it be abandoned? Who will pay for the cleanup and conversion? We don't know. There are no data centers that old. But have we asked that question? We still don't know the future, the full financial truth, what this will really cost us, what it will truly return to our schools and our city services. Without transparency, how can citizens decide if the price outweighs the liability? Rezoning farmland to advanced industrial is permanent. This is not just about one project. This is about the future shape and character of Oregon, Ohio. I urge you to protect the agricultural land and protect the neighbors and vote no on rezoning. There's one thing that you mentioned. You mentioned about how much that cost of things are. What type of research have you guys done to be able to collect information? I know I posted one that was the most recent information about the current data centers. You talked about strain on electricity, that it comes all the way from Washington. We're feeling that now. We're feeling that in our community. You're right, it is regionally. We feel that now from all those data centers being built there. So I just ask you to give that a consideration.
Thank you. Up next is Bradley Henning. Mr. Henning, if you would, name and address for the record.
My name is Bradley Henning. My address is 4262 Morning Dove Drive. I'm here to speak about the data center agenda item. Just prepared a brief statement. I'm here to state my support for the idea of the town hall discussion and informational forum that was proposed at last week's meeting. The best method for overcoming distrust and skepticism is to clearly present the facts and benefits of a Cedar Point Industrial Park development in an organized and constructive manner. This forum isn't the most dynamic or interactive of meeting types. It's when it comes to such a complex issue. And, you know, just based on what Ms. Mottmiller had laid out there, there's a lot of substance. Doing so eliminates confusion and misinformation and achieves the goal of bringing clarity to the public's awareness. This is how consensus is achieved, which leads to actionable progress. My appeal to Upterra, the property developer, is that they engage and ingratiate themselves with the various stakeholder groups in the community through a town hall forum that could have them present the strength of their development, give visual representations of the environmental design and the build-out of the buildings, sharing case studies on other data center clients they've had, and addressing any negative concerns that may be misfounded or unjustifiably perceived. By choosing this approach, both Upterra and our community can rise above the resistance and opposition of entrenched interests in their conflicts, which only lead to one-dimensional, poor decision-making for the sake of political expediency. Our city has access to a strong resource and the opportunity to engage Upterra's Managing Director, Will Turner. I had the chance to work with Will during my time at OEDF and know his experience with Loudoun County Economic Development Commission gives him insight into how data centers impact communities on multiple levels. He also has experience advising government leaders on industry cluster development across various advanced manufacturing sectors, such as Joel stated. You know, if we're to be rezoning something that was suddenly, you know, being proposed that was previously a reservoir, you know, and it's from the city of Toledo that also has a mayoral election taking place, it just doesn't look good. And that speaks to why, you know, you can have things that are, and especially when, you know, this is just what I'm hearing too, and this speaks more to the speculation of things that now that they want to sell that for another data center when there's already 6 that are supposed to be going in the Cedar Point industrial property. Now that's what, a 7th? I mean, and it's in a whole different section, that was not in the original industrial park. So it's just, as Ms. Mottmiller said, that's a lot of data centers. You know, and where's the diversity there as far as what advanced manufacturing zoning designation includes? I know that Mr. Horniak had gone to the artificial intelligence forum, I believe. I saw some Facebook postings, and I'm sure that it was very informative with other members of the OEDF, and it'd be moving on into the era of AI, there are so many applications. It could be the way that we process our energy or utilize our resources. To have those type of discussions of how it could benefit in tandem with industry and the things that are on the horizon, that we as a community could set ourselves up for 50 to 100 years worth of growth into a whole new era, an epoch, really, civilizationally, which is what's implicated with these AI processors. This is the kind of discussion we need to have, and people are bringing up this issue for the benefit of having stronger, more diverse growth that is sustainable. So, with Mr. Turner's experience, we have someone here that they're representing a client, it's a data center, but should that not be in our best interest after a community discussion and engagement, and in the transition to whoever is the next mayor or city council representatives in that administration, there might be some things along the way that we learn from that process that either way goes into our progress. And it doesn't have to be along the lines of perceived as political expediency, which, like I said, it just happens to sometimes look that way. So in closing, if we commit now to using this agreement timeline extension for collaborating with our business partner, we can inform our direction on not only this specific development, but also other contentious land use zoning decisions being suddenly proposed in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Henning. Our next person up to speak is Pete Rainier. Pete, Mr. Rainier, if you would, name and address.
Pete Reiner, 2025 West Baywood Drive, Oregon, Ohio. Through the chair to Mr. Major, how many man-hours were spent at Oregon Jerusalem Historical Society with the grant and the assessing the property which needed the grant?
Mr. President,
Mr.
Mr. Rayner, I'd have to go back and take a look and do my best estimate on how many man-hours were spent on.
Estimate, so you're not accountable for your hours throughout the day? You don't write down, I was over here for 5 hours?
No, I don't write down hour by hour what I'm doing every day.
So how do we know how much time or money was, again, donated along with this grant? How long does it take to write a grant?
Again, I'd have to be able to answer that question. I'd have to go back and take a look. I don't have that off the top of my head. I mean, that's what you're asking me to do, so
Mr. President,
Mr.
I'd like to respond to that if I could. Mr. Bernier, the Oregon Jerusalem Historical Society traditionally is for the benefit of the city of Oregon and Jerusalem Township, but it's in the city of Oregon. And almost all the time when they need something, they don't really have a funding source. We supply that funding. If we did not get the grant, I know who was going to pay the whole amount for that building demo. It was going to be the city of Oregon. So every effort, no matter how much it was saving us the $100,000 grant. So it was either spend a little time and get the $100,000 or pay the whole $100,000. So it's irrelevant how much time we spent because it certainly wasn't going to be $100,000 worth of time.
I'm glad you brought that up. It was very unclear in the previous meeting. We were talking about how much is going to be spent in grant money, donation. It's still my money. I don't care if it's grant money or city money. Still coming out of my pocket somewhere, and the rest of these people too.
Then,
Thank you.
Mr. President.
Mr. Roman.
One thing that people don't realize is that when we do things in-house engineering-wise, we save money by not hiring a professional or a consultant to do the job. We just did the waterline project, $3 million project. We designed it in-house. I know the fellow engineers in the room know that design is typically 10% of the cost. So that $3 million project would have cost the city $300,000 to do it. You're right, it is your money. It's my money too. But guess what? We save money when we do things in-house. We helped out the Historical Society by helping them out, by providing some engineering, helping them with the grant. That's saving the taxpayer money by doing that in-house. You should be glad that we do that.
Thank you. Up next is Fran Wilbur. Ms. Wilbur, if you would, name and address for the record.
Hello, Fran Wilbur, 3226 North Eastmoreland Drive, Oregon, Ohio. I just have a couple of questions. With this project coming, did you do all the studies that needed to be done, like the environmental? How far did you do any of those studies yet? I'm just asking a question. Because from what I've read,
Mr. Mayor,
Well,
just so we can answer that first for you.
Yeah.
that part, okay. Mrs. Wilbur, what we are is an industrial-based city. We get most of our income as industrially. Because there's cities that do retail well, have a lot of employees, and we have a hard time because of our density of population doesn't support big enough retail, so we rely on industry. We know that mainly the industry we count on is the two refineries that are here. Refineries do business a little different than they did in the past. So the amount of net profits earnings that they have are sometimes non-existent at the end of the year, where we would get a large amount of our funding source. So we could see what was happening over the past several years, and we knew we had to increase our tax revenues. We had to do it. When you talk about environmental impacts, any of the, I said, to compete with this type of revenue, we would need some manufacturing plant that would hire between 8,000 and 10,000 people. They would have smokestacks, they would make way much more noise than a data center would. They would have way more traffic. So all of the impact, regardless to what it was, I have not been able to find, or anybody was able to educate us here, that anything that could come close to producing the revenue that a data center had would also have way more impact to the city. 145 of these acres are already zoned either heavy or M1 or M2, or now advanced manufacturing. So we're talking about a small portion that we're adding the additional zoning on, and that's in the 25th of this month. But so we are already zoned to do heavy industrial. We're actually lightening the impact by going advanced manufacturing. And we're raising the revenue stream by a lot more than any of the other manufacturing jobs or manufacturing businesses that we had the possibilities of getting. So we only have a couple options. When we reduce our revenue, which has gone down from the refinery input to the city, we are currently using our reserves that we have for that reason. We'll one day either have to reduce city services, which we certainly don't want to see happen, or raise taxes, which we certainly don't want to do, or get that new revenue stream. And that's our job up here. So we're looking, for an industrial area to get something that has less impact with even close to the revenue source, it doesn't exist, or not any that we were able to find. We have an obligation to all of you. You say, does it impact people in the city of Oregon? It impacts every single one of the 20,468 people that was last current number I knew of the people that live here. And every one of them will financially benefit through city services with this data center. Every one of them, if we don't get it and we deplete every one of our reserve funds, everyone will feel that impact too. We're not going to let that happen. We'll do everything we can to see to it that we not only meet the other expectations of our revenue, we exceed them. We worked endlessly to do this. When a thought of a data center came to us, when we get known for pollution and smokestacks from refineries and heavy industry. We wanted something else, and we found it. And we'll do everything we can to see to it that we can bring this clean revenue stream into the city of Oregon. If I did anything less, I wouldn't be doing my job.
Thank you, Mayor. You had a second point, right? You had a second question, Mrs.
Yeah.
Wilbur? Thank you.
Yeah, because you didn't really answer the first. Did you guys do a hearing test
Mr.
in
President.
the area?
Mr. Major.
Thank you, Ms. Wilbur. There was actually a noise study done, but that was for the power plant project. So the developers of that did a noise study. In addition to that, I know a lot of what we talk about in terms of economic impact to the city and the school system and everything else, they're expecting some certain things to take place, certain due diligence items to take place prior to getting into any other type of negotiations, okay? So we're trying to clear some of the hurdles as per the contract. If we can clear those hurdles, and then they have other hurdles that they have to clear on their own, then we can meet up and discuss that economic impact. In that, it's an economic development agreement. But part of that agreement will outline some of the expectations that we have, including aesthetics, including noise readings before and after, very similar to what the power plant does. So the city did not expend any funds or do anything to do any noise studies and any noise readings there. But that is something that that is an expectation that we would
That
want
is
to include in
something,
this.
honestly, because I have a cousin with an autistic daughter that's going to have to sell her house and move because her daughter is very hypersensitive, and a lot of autistic kids are. And that humming noise, she has seizures, and they're literally going to have to sell their house because it's, and everything I read on these different ones said, the pro of the data center is money. The con, quality of life. Imagine that. And we're talking, and as far as pollution, everything I've read, they put out a lot of pollution. Environmental is a biggie. I don't want to end up with cancer. That's already a cancer hub out there. And maybe that's why you guys are putting it there, because our old neighborhood's a cancer hub anyway, so let's throw that there.
Mr. President, if I could interject.
Yes.
One of the things you brought up is that the pollution factor, I mean, these are not, I believe that to be incorrect. Do they use a lot of electricity? Yes. Do they pollute?
I am.
I'd like to know what kind of pollution you're
Okay,
talking about and everything else.
Okay.
That's maybe it's a different generation version
The
of
data
that, but-
center has backup generation that releases particles, matter, nitrogen oxides, something else, and the noise levels can reach between 85 and 100. And I mean, I've been on that computer, I've looked at data centers in probably every state. And if you go to the citizens and ask them what they think, most of them are devastated that they let it come in. Because the revenue that come in was a lot. Some of the people bought $1 million homes. Guess what? Their house ain't worth nothing now. Because no one wants to live where there is a constant hum. Can you imagine, especially like a veteran that has that ringing in their ears, add a hum on top of it? Can't we do something else? I mean, seriously, is this a done deal? Have we signed every contract? Do we really have a voice in this? Is my huge question. Do we have a voice? Or are we all here to waste our breath?
Mr. President, if I may.
Mr. Major.
Yeah, I would say that this has been something that's been in the works, like I stated before, for almost 20 years. So is it a data center? Now, I want to address the pollution part again, since you brought it up. Natural gas generators. So the natural gas power plants burn a lot more natural gas than what a backup generator would on site.
Their
So-
diesel is the backup generators on site.
Yeah, these are
Is
not.
diesel.
No, these are not. Yeah, these would be natural gas. So I just want to make sure that's a big difference.
This is part of the problem, guys. Show us. It might not
again,
be as bad as we all think, but I have yet to see what it's gonna look like. You guys talk about all these jobs, read on it. Might be 50, but guess what? They have to bring in a lot of their own because we've never worked in a data center. They're not gonna give us a job to do something none of us know how to do. And even if it does, 50 jobs, come on, 50 jobs.
Mr. President.
Mr. Major.
Thank you. So again, back to the economic benefit. When you factor in that this is multiple billions of dollars of investment, how much does that produce in a land tax and building tax value? And that's how you calculate what the estimates can be. So it's a very high number, very impactful for the city and the school system.
Okay,
And
what
as
kind
for
of-
the look,
what kind of
these are
time
things that need to be negotiated, right? And like I just
And we,
stated, there are a lot of
as
due
citizens,
diligence.
need to see it too, guys.
You will, and everybody will, because this will be negotiated if we get to that next point. If we
okay.
get to that next point, we can talk about the economic development agreement at that time.
Yeah, because
And
I
that's when
do
it
want
gets
to see
negotiated.
it. Because
So-
there is some
And I-
that actually
Miss-
have barbed wire around them. I really prefer people don't think we have a prison on Wynn Road. And that's normally when you see barbed wire, it's animals or a prison, one or the
Yeah,
other.
the expectation, Mr. President, if I may, the expectation is that not barbed wire, that it is aesthetically pleasing and it has good landscaping per the code, and any design would still have to go before the Architectural Design Review Committee that has been established. So that's.
Okay, and like I
that's
said, can
what's-
we all see it?
Yeah,
Because
that will
like
be
I said,
public.
We might decide, hey, maybe it's not a bad thing.
That'll be a public record when the time comes, when it comes to that point. So-
But is someone
Okay,
gonna
thank you, Mr.
do the hearing test? Or are you gonna wait until
They have to meet
families
the
sue
standard
you?
we have. They have to meet that 65 decibels.
Especially, you've got a school right over here. So I know it has to be lower. It
We'll be
has
able to
to
support
be,
that school, too.
it has to be between like 36 and something else decimals for
Mr.
noise.
Roman.
Mr. President, so for advanced manufacturing, the maximum decibel reading would be 70 decibels at the property line, okay? And then in the heavy industry, like our BP area and Toledo Refinery, it's 75 decibels. A lot of that was grandfathered, before those rules came out. So this developer is well aware of our code. They know it has to be 70 decibels at the property line for the advanced manufacturing, okay?
Okay, but not for like a school, it has to be lower. The hum, the
There's
noise
certain,
has to
for
be.
each, well, schools are almost exempt being institutional, in terms of our zoning code, okay? But the zoning, if you go to the zoning code, it'll show you what the noise code, actually, it's chapter 5, will tell you what the maximum decibel reading is per property, and then it goes by zoning, okay? So that's what I read off to you. Advanced manufacturing is like 70 decibels.
Okay, because then you also, up here at Coeur d'Alene Stadium, Emmanuel's is for adult developmentally
Yeah.
disabled adults. You're gonna have some of them too, that the noise is gonna bother them, and that's close.
That's,
That's
and that- and
that's
that's,
what I'm saying. I think the public should demand an official hearing on it, just to make sure, make us all feel comfortable. If you guys don't think it's gonna be a bad thing, reassure us, tell us what's going on. We've been held in the dark for because I know you guys said you started talking about this a while ago, but we're all here because a lot of us never heard about it, honestly.
Mr. President?
Thank you, Mrs. Wilbur. Thank you.
Well, I just want to, Ms. Wheelwright, this is a public meeting, and you're here asking questions, and that's a good thing. And I think we've had a lot of meetings. I know that November meeting, which was the original agreement, I don't think we had this many people in the room, and I wish we did. I wish we did.
Yeah, I didn't know about it. Or I
so,
would have been. I mean,
Again, the reason this data center looked at our area is because the natural gas was not far away. That gas line came in for the cliffs and the first power plant. So that idea of natural gas is why they came here. The transmission lines are already there. Again, that's another big alternative energy source to them generating their own power. So that's why they look. I think we've said that a lot at a lot of these meetings. It just maybe just
We
doesn't
weren't
sink.
here.
But
Well,
that you were, but it doesn't sink in. So I'm just going to keep repeating it because that's what you have to do. But no, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I have something that was pretty interesting to me. Do you know what the decibel level is in this room right now?
honestly, no.
About 67.
Okay.
They're permitted 70 at the line. So this is basically the
I know,
sense zone.
but like I said, this is something that should be done. Everything I've read
Well,
has
we did,
said.
it's done. It's already done.
The
That's all they're permitted, yes.
That's, you guys have already,
It's in the code. They have to meet the code,
it's your
like
code
you're
or
gonna-
their code?
our code.
What I just rattled off to everybody is what's
Is
in
your-
our code under chapter 5 for the noise ordinance. They are limited to a 70 decibels at their property line for advanced manufacturing. It's 75 for the heavy industry. Okay?
Well, I was worried because I took care of my husband's Down syndrome sister. And I know what that humming would have done to her.
Yeah.
Thank
There's a
you.
humming in here. It's 67.
Thank you.
Like I said, that's all I ask, and transparency. I want to see a picture of this. It might, like I said, might shock us with it, because all we're picturing is the other ones with the high fences and the barbed wire around the top. And like I said, when I see that, I think prison.
Well,
And
that's
Don't
what
we
that's what the
most?
water reservoir would have.
Okay,
Exactly. The water reservoir would have.
okay, we wouldn't.
The data center would not.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Up next is, on our list, and I'm not sure if I can get the last name, Nathan? Is it Ray?
Race, R-A-C-Z.
Oh. Okay. If you would, Mr. Race, if you would please name and address for the record.
Okay. Good evening, my name is Nate Race. I live at 818 Athens Road, Oregon, Ohio. I'm a journeyman electrician, and I'm a proud member of IBW Local 8. I built my life with my family here in Oregon, and I believe in a future that supports working families and strengthens our community. Mayor Safarian's vision for smart, sustainable development means high-quality, good-paying jobs for local workers and long-term benefits for our city. These projects don't just create careers, they grow our tax base, fund schools, roads, and essential services, and support local businesses during the construction and beyond. Growing up in Oak Harbor, I saw firsthand how tax revenue from a power plant improved the schools. Oregon deserves the same opportunity without raising the costs on families like mine. We have a choice. We could stand still, or we can move forward with the growth and investment. I support the path that powers our community and support families, and I hope you will too. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Race. Up next, I have Mr. Gast. Dwayne? Mr. Gast, if you would, name and address for the record.
Dwayne Gast, 29 Cooper Street, Oregon, Ohio. I also am an electrician, and I do applaud that Oregon is 20 years ago looking to bring in business industry to keep jobs in this area. But I'm concerned that you're spending 100-some acres, millions of dollars, 20 years for 50 jobs. The jobs that are in.
About 200.
Yeah, you're including the construction jobs?
No.
From what I've read elsewhere, the jobs was more like 70.
That's
So
also.
I don't have that in front of me. But I'm a little concerned that you're 100-some acres and all this investment, and you have what could be a small amount of jobs actually created after this. I'm actually from the Sandusky area, Sandusky, Ohio, which has also just finished building a data center right along Perkins Ave. It is the ugliest looking building you've ever seen. Huge, tall, tiny slits of windows. It is not up and running. I can't tell how loud or how quiet it is. But, I mean, I appreciate that you want to bring industry. I appreciate that you want to see the tax base. But tax bases change. Just like Oak Harbor got hit with when it got real expensive to run David Bessie, they cut the amount of taxes they were paying the local community in order to make that power plant more viable. We are building these data centers all over the place, and they may be building twice as many as they need. And so then they'll start whipsawing one community against another to actually lower the tax that you end up paying. So this bribe of all these dollars in taxes, we got to do this, we got to do this now. That's kind of what I heard reading in Sandusky when they were talking about bringing this in. It was, we don't have anything else available. We need this, we need the tax dollars. And I appreciate that you need the tax dollars. I appreciate that, you know, the refineries are not bringing in as much money as they used to. I just would like to see an open mind of, is this the best opportunity for Oregon? You've made a 20-year investment. You've spent millions of dollars. It sounded like the battery plant would have created a lot more jobs than what this does. But, you know, I don't know that this may be a decent thing to do, but if you go to Cedar Point and you're on Perkins Ave, you can see this data center. You can see how ugly it is. You can see how close it is to the street. I don't know what your setback rules are. I don't know how close it's going to be. But I mean, from my house, I'm seeing the landfill just keeps growing higher and higher and higher. And every time I turn around, they just allow it to be built higher and higher and higher. Oregon is going to be known for refineries with smoke and a landfill that is the highest peak of what anybody can see in Oregon is going to be the landfill. And now we're going to have this data center. That said, I am still open-minded about what this may mean, but I'm really kind of skeptical that this is bringing in a lot of jobs. And that 200 number sounds high. I mean, we often see this. An industry comes in, we're promising all these jobs in order to get these tax abatements, to get infrastructure built to this. And then when the industry comes in, there's a fraction of the jobs that they promised. What guarantee do you have that you're going to have 200? You're not going to get a guarantee is probably what it's going to be. And how many of those jobs are, well, remote work from somebody that's not even living in Oregon? I really only planned on coming here and listening, but I would have liked to have had kind of a presentation, and then if I had a question about the stuff, actually say something. I wish the presentation came and then you ask questions, but
Mr. Gast, there will be a public hearing where they're going to be here to,
Mr. President.
25th?
Yeah, Mr. President, if I may.
Yes.
The 25th is the zoning vote for the rezoning of the property, but it was never decided whether or not there were, that we were going to, City Council was going to schedule a town hall meeting. I had heard sometime in September. That's why the capacity folks aren't here, because they actually committed to being a part of a town hall discussion about the proposed development at some later date. And if that's something we still want to consider doing, then I think that they would be open to that. And I think that from last week, they committed to doing that. So if that's what you're asking, did I answer your question?
sort of. Mr. Horniak.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll speak to that. During last week's meeting, three of the gentlemen representing the development of that land and the data center were with us while we talked about, at our committee of the whole meeting, the ordinance before us tonight and some of the other items on there. During the meeting, Mr. Roman came to me and said, I chair the Economic Development Committee, and he said, what do you think about having a committee meeting maybe next week? And I said, okay. Walked out to the gentleman in the audience, said, would you guys be willing to do that? And they said, absolutely. We had a discussion as council. I proposed doing that for tonight, which would be either at 5 or 5:30. There was some concern that there wasn't enough time to get enough people here, and that 90 minutes or 2 hours may not have been enough time for an open discussion town hall. And there was also a concern that a lot of people don't want to stand in front of a microphone and ask questions in a public meeting because it's live streamed, it's recorded, it's part of the record forever. So maybe we should do that as a town hall that's not a city committee meeting, but rather a community meeting. They were open to whatever we would like to do. And part of that discussion was we had already been talking about doing that in September, when we're a little closer to knowing some more information about this, but they were very willing. And they said whether it's electronic, whether they're here in person, and we as a group kind of said tonight probably isn't the right night, so we'll do that again in the future. But all three gentlemen were very interested and very willing, because I didn't want to put them on a spot and call a meeting without asking them, hey guys, is next Monday gonna work for you? They were all willing, they said, you just let us know and we'll be there. So they are very willing to engage in that and do a Q&A session and do a presentation of, you know, what they do, if you will. So it just comes down to setting when that is and where that will be so that people can come to it.
It would be wonderful if you had drawings of how this place would look. It'd also be really nice to see what the setback's going to be from the street, from the neighbors, to see that. And the other concern I had is like that plant in Sandusky is also supplied by Toledo Edison. And this place will, at least for a period of time, be supplied by Toledo Edison. As you keep putting additional power requirements on the grid, Toledo Edison will then come up with, we need to build a new power plant, and that power plant cost will be passed on to the consumers. So while we may gain tax revenue for the schools, which is a wonderful thing, we may gain some construction jobs for a year or so, and that's great. And we'll gain a handful of people that are going to be working there for 20 years for the life of this thing. I'm just concerned that, is this the best path? I mean, I'm no expert. You guys have more facts to it than I do, but I'm just raising these questions. Aesthetically, what's it going to look like? And how far away from the street is? And having worked in a factory for a long time, have an app, it's about 60 decibels in here. With me talking, it's probably more like 70. But that volume, if it's 24/7, it actually has more of an impact than if you're exposed to the noise for 8 hours a day, then you go home to a quiet house. So I hope I
Thank you,
haven't
Mr.
bothered too many
Gass.
too much.
Thank you. Mr. Gass, Mr. President, if I could
Yes.
just finish with one piece of that. So we will do that. One of the advantages, this particular parcel in the zoning of advanced manufacturing, and several years ago when we started to bring that forward, I was at the early stages of that conversation. Advanced manufacturing as a zoning category allows the city more input into exactly what you're talking about, aesthetics, setbacks. There are restrictions. It is laid out. It is a building code category. So we have that established. They can certainly ask for variance to some of those things. But we have a city have already established in the advanced manufacturing, specifically knowing that someday there would be development, whether it's this council or future councils. We wanted to put that mechanism into place because industrial is a little bit dirtier, a little bit uglier. The advanced manufacturing gives us as a community the ability to have more input into what that looks like and what that is. And our goal was to decrease smokestacks and potentially look for innovation type of businesses. So the advanced manufacturing does assist us with our ability to help say what goes there.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Mr.
Horniak.
President.
I would urge anybody here to take a trip to Sandusky and drive down Perkins Ave and take a look at what that building looks like, because you don't want that.
Thank you, Mr. Gaines.
Understood. Thank you.
Mr.
Understood.
President, I just touch a couple things. Whether we had 2 jobs or 200 jobs, our real revenue comes in the payment of lieu of taxes. So the real money is coming through the direct payment, not through the jobs, 2.25% payroll income tax. So if we had no jobs, it would still be a great deal for the city.
Thank you. Mr. Major?
Thank you, Mr. President. One last thing I wanted to bring up and to kind of cap that is with this. The data center project at this location, in my opinion, is the highest economic benefit with the least amount of impact that we could ask for. That's what it comes down to. And I really think that we need to be speaking in facts. Is this the best scenario for, sorry, I can't remember your name, but I appreciate you coming up and saying that. Is this what's best for this site? In my opinion, the answer is yes. It's the least impactful for the surrounding area and the highest yield of tax revenue. So, and people can disagree with me all you want, but I'll tell you that I think that in my opinion, that's what's best. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr.
Mr. Roman?
Let me just say this, Mr. President, and I do appreciate your comments, sir. And I got to tell you, in the very beginning, I was skeptical. Our bread and butter is income tax, okay? The schools, it's property tax, all right? When we work on a great economic development project, we work our butts off. Who benefits from that? The schools. They always get payment in lieu of taxes. We don't. We get the jobs. First power plant, we didn't get many jobs from that. So when the data center idea came up, I'm thinking, wait a minute, is there jobs with this or not? And there's not, but we own the land. We can do the payment in lieu of taxes just like the schools. So what these two just said is dead on. You're not providing all this infrastructure, and yet you're getting the same revenue from the payment in lieu of taxes like the schools get. That's why we're doing it. So I'm glad you came up.
Thank you, Mr. Roman. Up next for us, Luke, I apologize, I don't want to butcher your last name, but Soltez?
I'll help you with those CZ pronunciations later.
Thank you. Mr. Soltez, if you would, name and address for the record.
3207 Eastmoreland Drive North. My name is Luke Soltez. I want to applaud the people who gave pushback on the data center before me. However, I must say that what you have all been saying thus far about the data center is an outright lie. These data centers are going to cost more than what you are letting onto the public. According to Meta's own analysis in Ohio Capital Journal, these data centers cost Ohio $1 million per worker, which comes out to $72 million if we look at how many people are going to be hired. So, yeah, failed to mention that part. Also, since there are no guaranteed benefits of this data center that have been shared with the public, we have to ask, what benefits have you all received? At the end of this day, none of this matters though, because you're gonna do this no matter what. We didn't vote on this. It doesn't matter what BS you tell us that it's gonna do for us, because there's no way to know. But you did it anyways without our consent. And I think that's wrong for each of you to have done. So, you know, that's all I got to say.
Thank you, Mr. Soltez. And last on our list tonight to speak is Mr. Gary Thompson.
Here we go.
Gary, name and address, please. You can give your work address.
Gary Thompson, 5808 Seaman Road, Oregon, Ohio. My work address is 2 Maritime Plaza, Toledo, Ohio. And I work for the Regional Growth Partnership, the agency charged with bringing economic development projects, new projects to the region. First, I want to commend council, the mayor, the administration, for having public meetings, I think most citizens don't understand how government works. It works very slow and on purpose. And almost everything you do, right? I'm trying to think of something you don't do that's a public record. Zoning meetings aren't council meetings. Agreements amongst things aren't zoning hearings, aren't land use changes. So there's a process for everything, and I think a lot of times the public forgets that. So I would encourage my fellow citizens to review the city charter, to review the agreement. What I think is occurring tonight is we're going to extend an agreement between the city and an interested party that has contingencies in it, much like you or I would if we were selling our house, right? We have a contingency on the water pressure, we have a contingency on the roof, we have a contingency on if the property taxes were paid, all those things. This is a normal business transaction. And I get a little concerned when I hear my fellow citizens wanting what I would say equate to mob rule, like the public all gets to look at every little detail all the time. That's not how government works. We live in a republic. I and fellow citizens elected all of you to make those decisions. You've wrote codes because you've listened to the public. They said, we don't want any more M1, M2, heavy industrial. We have enough of that. We don't want any more light pollution because we can see the refinery. It pollutes the night sky. We don't want any more noise because I live across the street from Clay High School and I hear that one turbine hum all day long. But what I want to do is encourage you all to have the backbone, to have the spine, to think of the 19,000 other people that aren't in this room, that are Oregon citizens that will benefit from this. Because if we go back, I remember a room when some folks from ProMedica Health Systems wanted to build a hospital in Oregon. And there were a lot of people stood up and opposed it. It was going to run St. Charles out of business. Did any of those people ever come back and say, I guess St. Charles is still here. I love ProMedica. I had surgery there last week. No, we can exist. These things become part of the landscape. There were lots of people that were upset about a power plant being built in Oregon. It was built with lots of union construction jobs, and after the 2-week adjustment period, it became part of the landscape. I look at it every day. Its neighbor is a refinery. That's part of the reason that power plant looks the way it does, because it blends into the landscape. Dare I say, 56 years ago, if a body like you wouldn't have taken the courage to pass bonds and build a water treatment plant and a water plant, we might be sitting in what I refer to as East Toledo. So I love that you're thinking of the future. I love that you're involved in the community. I love that Capacity is willing to have that discussion with the community. These are good guys, and they're doing the right thing. And I want my children to have a great future here in Oregon, Ohio, and I think technology is going to be a part of that. So I welcome your support of data centers and of extending this deadline to get this deal done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. With that being said, all of our speakers have spoke, so we are going to move on with our agenda. Mr. Drake.
I got a couple questions. I know some other people chimed in. I don't know if I'm supposed to be or not. As far as the date, I've had numerous people, my phone's been ringing off the hook. I told them I believe it was the last meeting, it was brought up that for the zoning change would be August 25th, I believe.
That's correct.
So I just want to make sure that's still the same date. And also, I brought up last council meeting, I know there was some guys here from the company. Are they going to come back and do another presentation? Or from what I remember of it, wasn't a whole detailed thing like a lot of these citizens have brought up today. I don't know if Steve, if you're going to deal with them, because I believe that's your committee.
I'll speak to that.
Okay.
There's not an intention for them to come. I'm sorry, Mr. President.
No, you're fine.
Thank you. There hadn't been a discussion or intention for them to come back to do a presentation on the 25th. And just to be clear, the vote that takes place on the 25th is the rezoning of the residential properties, which the city now owns, which is adjacent to the already zoned advanced manufacturing parcel. So it basically completes the block. The vote on the 25th isn't about a data center.
Correct, I know.
It's about
But
the
everybody
land that the
knows
city has
what's
cobbled
behind it.
together.
Voters and citizens aren't stupid.
Right,
They know what comes first and then second.
correct.
Okay. All right, and then the other thing is, the other question I've had from citizens, what happens in the last moment if this company pulls out? What's going to happen financially? It sounds like we're pretty much just banking on this 100%. If they would back out, then what would happen?
Mr. Major?
Mr. President and Mr. Drake, you know, anything can happen, right? You know, we always think, we doomsday prep. We think of worst-case scenarios. The first thing that would happen is seek another developer to do the same thing under the same circumstances. It's, you know, we would probably look towards the Regional Growth Partnership to help us out in making some connections, but you go back to a developer and you work towards finding a developer that works for the city.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. We need, we're going to the agenda items, so council, we need to add item 138 of 2025 to tonight's agenda. Can I seek a motion to add this to the agenda?
So moved, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mrs. Pauloff.
Second.
Second by Mr. Horniak. Council, are there any objections? Hearing none, 138 of 2025 has been added to tonight's agenda. The next item on the agenda for passage is item number 119 of 2025, previously presented by Mayor Safarian and Fire Chief Clayton O'Brien. Chief O'Brien, is there anything else to add?
Nothing to add, Mr. President.
Thank you. Council, are there any additional questions on item 119? Hearing none, I will assign item 119 of 2025 as ordinance 119 of 2025 and ask Ms. Schneider to please read it into the record.
Authorizing the mayor and finance director to issue a purchase order to Stryker Sales Corporation, 1901 Romans Road, Parkway, Portage, Michigan, in an amount not to exceed $175,389.26 for 2 power load systems with cots and 2 stair chairs to equip the new ambulances.
Thank you. Council.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mrs. Pauloff.
I move for passage of ordinance 119 of 2025.
Thank you, Ms. Pauloff.
Second.
Second by Mr. Salander, correct?
Yep.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Motion was by Mrs. Pauloff, second by Mr. Salander. Ms. Snyder, would you please take a roll call vote of council?
Mrs. Pauloff?
Yes.
Mr. Salander?
Yay.
Mrs. Ackerman? Yay. Mr. Drake?
Yay.
Mr. Horniak?
Yes.
Mr. Reeves?
Yes.
Mr. Wallensack?
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 119 of 2025 does pass with a vote of 7 yeas, 0 nays. The next item on the agenda for passage is item 127 of 2025, previously presented by Mayor Safarian and Fire Chief Clayton O'Brien. Chief O'Brien, anything further on that?
Nothing further, Mr. President.
Thank you. Council, any additional questions?
Mr. President?
Mrs. Ackerman.
Just a brief synopsis of why it's declared an emergency for the people present.
Chief, did you hear the question?
Yep. Mr. President, Councilwoman Ackerman, the reason for the emergency is just due to the timing for the grant purposes.
Thank you.
Oh, no. Can you pull your mic closer? I think so. Oh, no.
The decimals are low.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chief, if you would, could you repeat that, please?
Yeah, Mr. President, Councilwoman Ackerman, the reason for the emergency on the CSX grant is due to the timing for the grant application.
Thank you, Chief. Council, any additional questions for item 127? Hearing none, I will assign item 127 of 2025 as ordinance 127 of 2025 and ask Ms. Snyder to please read it into the record.
Authorizing the fire department to submit an application with CSX Railroad for funding from the CSX Pride and Service Program and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Ms. Snyder. Council.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mrs. Pauloff.
I move for passage of ordinance 127 of 2025 as an emergency measure.
Thank you, Mrs. Pauloff.
Second.
Second by Mr. Salander. We have a motion by Mrs. Pauloff and second by Mr. Salander. Ms. Snyder, will you please take a roll call vote of council?
Mrs. Pauloff?
Yes.
Mr. Salander?
Yay.
Mrs. Ackerman?
Yay.
Mr. Drake?
Yay.
Mr. Horniak?
Yes.
Mr. Reeves?
Yes.
Mr. Wallensack?
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 127 of 2025 does pass with a vote of 7 yeas, 0 nays. The next item on the agenda for passage is item 128 of 2025, previous presented by Mayor Safarian and City Administrator Joel Major. Mr. Major.
Nothing new to report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Major. Council, are there any additional questions on item 128 of 2025? Hearing none, I will assign item 128 of 2025 as ordinance 128 of 2025 and ask Ms. Snyder to please read it into the record.
Authorizing the mayor and finance director to amend the sales and purchase agreement with Capacity LLC, a Florida limited liability company, and Oregon on the Bay Regional Economic Development Foundation, an Ohio nonprofit corporation, for the purpose of increasing the purchase price, extending the time period for completion of the zoning process, the pipeline and emissions contingency, and the time period for the load study, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Council.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Horniak.
I move for passage of ordinance 128 of 2025 as an emergency measure.
Thank you, Mr. Horniak. Second by Mr. Drake. We have a motion by Mr. Horniak, second by Mr. Drake. Ms. Snyder, would you please take a roll call vote of council?
Mr. Horniak?
Yes.
Mr. Drake?
Yay.
Mrs. Ackerman?
Yay.
Mrs. Pauloff?
Yes.
Mr. Reeves?
Yes.
Mr. Salander?
Yay.
Mr. Wallensack?
I abstain.
Thank you. Ordinance 128 of 2025 does pass with a vote of 6 yeas and 1 abstention, 0 nays and 1 abstention. The next item on the agenda for passage is item number 129 of 2025, previously presented by Mayor Safarian and City Administrator Joel Major. Mr. Major, anything to add on this?
Nothing new to report.
Thank you. Council, any additional questions for item 129?
Mr. President,
Mrs. Ackerman.
although I am abstaining from the vote this evening, as Ms. Perper suggested, as being a member, social member of the organization, I do want to bring to the public's attention that one thing was left out of all of the lengthy explanation of what took place. There was an altercation between the previous, well, there's several things.
Mr. President?
That was this.
Ms. Ackerman?
Ms. Ackerman. Or Mrs. Purpura.
Thank you, Mr. President. I had recommended that you abstain due to a conflict. Included in that is not just voting, but it's also discussing.
Mr. Gray, did you have anything you wanted to add?
I think he left.
Would he, can he, you know,
Oh, there he is.
he wasn't able to sign up in time. Can he please speak?
Sure.
I mean, the mayor added a name to the list after it was done, so I think that's only fair.
Deb Baker wants to talk.
Please. Name and address for the record, please. Well, wait till you get to the microphone, please.
1026 North Cugino Road, Oregon, Ohio, 43616.
And it's Aaron Gray, correct?
Aaron Gray,
Thank
correct. Mrs. Ackerman, I just want to appreciate you for speaking out against it. And I appreciate that. Joel, you had mentioned in a text to me earlier this week that you know, in your words were, I know I'm going against the advice of the law director. But one thing stood out to me. You said I was trying to sweep something under the rug, which is not true at all. And that continues to go on. In your position, is it normal for you as a city administrator to go against the law director's direction?
Mr. Major?
Mr. President, I'm advised by Melissa also to not engage in conversation at this time. Is that still the case?
Thank you. Mrs. Purpura?
I had recommended, due to the fact that it has been brought to the city's attention that possible litigation could be foreseen or is in the process, that is recommended that we don't discuss the matter.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Purpura. I just want to first and foremost say, I don't want to go down the legal route. I made that known to you, Joel. I made it known to multiple members. You were the one that told me in the last phone call to me that you ever made that unfortunately, as much as you tried and disagreed with the situation, you wanted to see things worked out between the two parties, that you approached OJHS and asked them to meet with me, but that you just wanted to let me know, for concern for me, that they showed up to the meeting with legal counsel. You were the first one to bring that up. I don't want to go that route. I think it's sad and it's sickening that our council is just allowing this to go on. No one seemed to be concerned about the facts of the situation. And there's been some major details left out of the situation. First and foremost, I absolutely love and fully believe in the Historical Society. One of the reasons that I was told that I was hired is because of my belief in that organization, that I had grown up right down the street, that not only did I grow up down the street, I had ties to that building, I had ties to that as a child growing up, and that they would love nothing more than to see a quality, responsible contractor hired to do the project. In 24, and as you nod your head and agree with all this, Joel, it's sad this is being allowed. In 24, I was forwarded an award by Linda Rossler from OJHS, awarding me the contract because that, although I was not lowest, I was lowest and best. That my bid as president of Groundworks Excavating to OJHS met and exceeded all of the scope of work. I even have an email from Linda Rossler asking me to keep it between me as if it were some promise that, because I met the scope of work, that the bid for, and this was after the bid opening, that the bid from Ben, who was hired to do the job after the fact, after I was awarded it, did not meet the criteria. A lot of the dates are off as well. As Michelle Quilter had stated, on May 11th, there was an agreement proposed to me. It was sent out to me, it was signed, and up until that point, I was asked and almost demanded to sign that, as they were concerned that they were going to run out of time. And all throughout 24 and into 25, I met multiple times with that organization. I even met there with you, Joel, with Steve Schrake, and at that time, I presented a change order to the organization, trying to look out for their best interest, not for my pocket, not for my personal and financial gain. I proposed to them and to Steve Schrake a change order to eliminate 20 feet of that hallway, saving them an abundance down the road of roof repairs, building repairs. Although it may cost more up front, it saved them a tremendous amount of money down the road, because at the end of the day, I wasn't looking to gain and personally load my pockets. I wanted to help out and give back and serve my community, to serve an organization that I thought was led with excellence, with honesty, with moral integrity. On May 11th, there was an agreement sent to me. That agreement did not have the correct contract price involved. When I reached out to Rob Gerhardt and asked him about that, because both Linda and Michelle did not respond to my phone calls, and I asked Rob, what's going on? There's a difference in from what I originally bid the project for compared to what we did the job, or what we agreed upon. Why? Well, I don't know. Michelle and Linda really want to get this project done. They're really concerned about the June 30th deadline, the hard deadline. If we don't get it done, they're going to lose the grant. I said, it's not always about just rushing it. We need to slow down. We need to make sure this job is done correctly, ethically, and per code. In that contract, there was a PLA. I let them know that I needed more time. After finally receiving the approved scope of work, which was, by the way, after this, that I couldn't move forward and just do the job, that I agreed that I would sign it, but we could not just move forward until I had all the matching documents, because the original scope of work did not match the approved contract, and it did not match the presented project price. On May 19th, so after I spoke with them, Linda, on May 19th, then sent an email to myself, Rob Gerhardt, OJHS's email, and myself. Sent an email approving the $9,000 difference in increase, which Michelle said she didn't know why. I just supposedly pulled it out of thin air. That $9,000 change order was to cover the additional demo of the 20-foot of hallway. She sent the email. I updated change orders and price, but does not have the scope correct. The scope did not match the approved contract price. They agreed to the change orders, they agreed it was saving them money, that's the route they wanted to go. And I said, I can't move forward until we have all of the project paperwork matching. It is only right and fair. I still have to have all these documents to be able to go to building trades with the contract and show them to get the PLA involved, to get the project labor agreement approved and put forth. Because in the agreement that was sent to you, Joel, that you were a part of with the email, and with them, it said before any work is to be started, a project labor agreement is to be put together with the Northwest Building Trades. They were more concerned that Ben Excavating was approached by them, that Ben told them that they could move forward and do it without, and that if I wouldn't sign it, if I wouldn't move forward in that regards to their direction, to the way they wanted me to do it, that they would then hire Ben. So it wasn't that I didn't want to do it. It wasn't that I told them no. It was about whether or not I was going to do the project ethically and honestly. Because my eyes weren't focused on the dollars. My eyes weren't focused on the fiduciary responsibility that Michelle said she had in her reputation that was on the line. And also what I'm leaving out is the fact that Linda Rosser called me and told me that if I didn't sign it, if I didn't do it the way that she wanted us to do it, that my reputation was on the line. And I was being put in a real bad position. That's not somewhere that I want to be put in front of. I, at that point, reached out to you guys. Numerous times I made phone calls and left messages, Joel, for you to call me back and get involved. I spoke to Cassie multiple times, and she even said she doesn't know why you're not getting back to me. Why? I wanted help. You guys were the ones that wrote the scope, wrote the grant, and assisted in the direction and leading this. Because as Michelle said, they don't have experience in this line of work. That's why they were leaning on you, and they said that multiple times. So after May 19th, on May 21st, when I continued to stay on the foot that yes, I would do the project, but it has to be done ethically correct. On May 21st, Rodney, after Linda sent me the email approving the increase in the change order, that Rodney released the updated scope of work, according to how we all agreed it. And at that point in time is where I said, I don't feel that this is right, and this is honestly, if you guys want me to move forward, and you want me just to start the work, this is not correct. I then was told that they were going to issue it to Ben. I reached out to Mr. Ben, spoke with him. And unfortunately, he had some very not so great words to speak that I want you guys to listen to. And this is just a clip of over 9 minutes.
Mr. Gray,
Yes.
if you would, could you wrap this up a little? I mean, without that being played.
Why do you guys not want it played? Why are you guys not concerned that you want this to be heard by the public when these $30,000 are public
Mr.
funds?
Gray, on the advice of counsel, or our law director, I'm not supposed to speak on it, but I will tell you, this is not against us. This should be taken up with the Oregon Jerusalem Historical Society and/or between your attorneys.
Well,
Please, not with us, okay?
The problem is this. These are all citizens of our city that we lean on you guys to be honest and ethical with our funds and how it's being used. After this situation happened, which I am more than willing and still wanted to work with them, still wanted to donate time and availability to them even after this project. This is nothing against the Historical Society. This is nothing against the organization. This is the fact that this was extremely mismanaged, both honestly, ethically, and morally by the leaders put in place. When I questioned why this was being allowed, I was told by Michelle Quilter as if it was some type of scare tactic that her husband, Bernie Quilter, was listening in on the conversation. That a letter would be sent out to me. And why? What does he have anything to do with it? He's not a part of your organization. Or is it because he's connected in a little bit higher way? When I reached out to the local 18 and concerned as to why this project was going on, they confirmed that there was a project labor agreement involved. Nothing has been done. The agreement in place has been broken 100%, and you guys are still sitting here being willing to vote on moving this $30,000 to them. I'm all for them receiving it if it was done correctly, if it was done the way that the agreement proposed and written by Joel Major, by the land bank, was followed. But you've said so yourself, Joel, that you helped write the scope of work, that you helped write the grant, did you not? So how are you not involved? And you guys have leaned and used the OEDF as some type of what, a scapegoat or something to hide behind? Because numerous times you've told me, well, and you told me in one sentence that they approached you, but then last week, you even admitted that you approached them and asked for their assistance and help after a concern from Mrs. Purpura of whether or not you guys could move the funds within City of Oregon. Is that not what happened? Is that not what you said?
Sir, we already said we're not going to respond to anything you say.
So run and hide from it. While you guys,
Yeah, run and hide from it.
so then how can you guys sit here and honestly, with moral integrity, vote to move these funds without correctly looking at all the tactics, without looking at all the information at hand from both parties? Because like you said last weekend, Joel, after the meeting, when I approached the bench, you said there's two sides to every story. And I said, you're right, there's two sides, their story and my facts. And I'm not looking for any personal gain. I don't want $1 from this anymore. I wanted the project to be done correctly. And even in my concern, when I reached out and talked to Linda after the fact, up until the fact, I said, what about my time involved? Since you guys have awarded me the contract, what are you gonna do about that time? What are you gonna do about the invoices? What are you gonna do about the plow service that we provided you guys throughout the winter? Her words were, you can go ahead and send the invoices, but good luck getting paid, because we're not going to. Consider it a donation to our organization. That's what's really going on. And then she comes into our church, which we are members at, walks into my mother's office, who's a secretary, in tears, crying and apologizing for the way she handled it, for how she chose to speak to me, and asked for forgiveness, and asked that she wishes she would have handled it a different way. That she's concerned for how it's going to be handled within the church. As if, for what reason? It has nothing to do with the church. There's a lot of major issues going on. And for what reason? And you're right, I do feel like this is being swept under the rug. Because if it wasn't, why wouldn't you guys want me to play the video? Why don't you guys want me to play the audio? If there was nothing to hide, if there was nothing to run from,
Mr.
I'm
Gray,
not asking for financial reimbursement.
Mr. Gray, we are not involved in this.
You guys wrote the grant. You guys wrote the scope of work. I have the emails. Rodney Schultz leaned on Joel Major's direction for the scope of work.
I understand that.
So how are you not involved?
But it is an issue that is between you and the OJHS.
If that's what they want to, but are they not up here? Oh, are they not up here asking for the 30,000 to be sent after? But let's not forget, the same contractor that threatened me that if I spoke about this now would not only sue me but give me concrete bricks in his bay, son then later assaulted me, smashed my truck, broke my phone screen, and said that I now have a problem with him, when on video recording I have proof that I even said, I don't have an issue with you guys. I don't. This has nothing personal, but that's not being talked about as well. But yet you guys approved it, you stepped on site, inspected it, all while this was going on, and never said, hey, maybe we should pause and really look at all the facts involved. Do not lie.
Mr. President, would you please take order? It's
Bernie,
been
what am
very
I lying about,
chaotic.
sir? What, would you like me to play the audio?
Hey,
need a point of order,
Mr. Quilder,
please?
please have a seat, please.
Bernie, would you like me?
No, Mr. Gray, thank you.
And when is it
thank
going to
you.
be talked about in the public eye? Are
Thank you
these not
for your
public
time.
funds?
We're going to move on with our,
Mr. President,
God's hands from now on. Thank you.
Mr. Drake.
I would like a clarification. I don't care what side anybody's on in here, but I just want to figure out why. I don't care what's on the phone, the recording or whatever, but why is it certain groups can come in here and have a presentation,
Correct.
say a junior high group or whatever, it's fun, it's cute or whatever. Well, this issue might not be important to us, but I believe it's part of freedom of speech.
Thank you.
And I guess I don't understand why he couldn't play it or whatever. It makes no sense. I mean, how can we silence some people and not others? That's what bothers me. Thank you.
And on top of that, at the beginning, thank you, Mr. Drake. At the beginning of this meeting, did you guys not say that due to the time limit, you guys were going to limit it to 3 to 5 minutes, but then Ms. Quilter was able to get up here and speak?
That's
for an
why
unlimited amount of time?
That is correct.
Never got
I've given you well over 5 minutes as well.
She had a lot more than that. And then I have her husband, clerk of court's coming in here telling me not to lie. Is that not a conflict of interest? Is that not? Have I done something wrong or illegal by questioning this? Have I?
I wouldn't say anything wrong other than it has nothing to do with us. Your information that you are giving, other than the $30,000 that is being transferred or might have already been transferred, or not yet, but will be. We have obligations too, to pay bills.
If the project was done according to scope, but it wasn't, I have the proof.
Then my suggestion to you is take it to court.
Then shouldn't this vote wait until it did, if it had to?
No.
I don't believe so.
Okay. Then why should you guys have the power to sit up here and continue to control taxpayers' funds in this city? Why should you guys have the authority to sit here and vote when it's not being fairly treated and questioned, just like one member, Mr. Drake, questioned from our council? Why?
Mr. President, I'd like to speak on the
Major.
ordinance itself, if I may.
Thank you.
The $30,000, as Ms. Quilter explained earlier, is something that the city budgeted, I believe it was in 2023, originally for renovation work at the Historical Society. And then in 2024, with the project, the St. Mark's Church donation to the OJHS happened, and then it was discussed by the board members who came here to speak on behalf of the project that they would like to use the funds as matching funds for the demolition work. So that's what was budgeted and approved by City Council for the 2025 year, and that's what's being considered at this time.
Mr. Major, the question I might have back to you is, has the work been finished?
I'll have to defer to Ms. Quilter, whose team has been project managing the whole thing. And as she stated earlier, there's a door that's, we're waiting on that, and that'll be installed at some point. And then after that, I believe that's everything, right? That'll be completed. So the demolition of the building is down, the electrical work that needed to happen, the restoration work and everything is.
But according to
the thing we're waiting on is a door.
Correct.
Thank you.
But unfortunately, according to the contract, all of the work that was in the scope of work needed to be completed by June 30th. The final grade and seating was not done by then.
I don't know who was all involved in it, because they really don't like me. I know that. And you know what? I could give a fuck, because they're all going to go down. Governments are going to be fucking far and few between. And shady shit, anybody that's shady in this world is going down. I'm telling you right now. Listen, they're all going down.
So, but
they're going to get ugly.
So did you not sign a contract with them?
Yeah, I signed a contract with them.
And in that contract is the same contract that I received, that there's process and procedures, there's a termination agreement in there, there's a PLA agreement in there, all that stuff.
I don't see no PLA. Nothing. It just says I got to pay prevailing wage. Fuck the union. You want to give money to the fucking union instead of giving it to the employees?
Whether I agree or disagree.
They want to steal our people's money. Fuck them. They deserve none of it.
Mike,
I wouldn't give them a fucking nothing. I'd walk away from the job right now, and I already told them that. I'm out of here if I got to be a PLA. I wouldn't sign with them son of a bitches for nothing.
Thank you, Mr. Gray.
There's a lot more where that came from, and you guys are trying to hide it.
You're
welcome.
Thank you.
For your time.
Yeah, you might as well, Mr. Quilter. Please come up.
Council, Bertie Quilter, Lucas County Clerk of Courts, you all know me. 4810
Saltillo Lane. Council, this is Oregon Historical Society. This has nothing to do with you, your bench right now. It has nothing to do with you. This is between, as you have said, between their attorney and his attorney. It has nothing to do with you. But let me just do this, please, because y'all know me. You know I'm the county official, only county official on this side of the river for Oregon, for Lucas County. You know I protect Oregon. I'm the only one that has an auto title office or any county building, any county office in Oregon. So I take good care of Oregon. I keep an eye on them. I bring more people here than anybody can believe to show off Oregon. But council, I have nothing, in spite of what somebody says, I have nothing to do with the Oregon Historical Society. My wife was on a phone when I heard in the kitchen the man say, I can't do the job. I did hear that, I admit it. But that's it. But for sit there and say that I went, a few weeks ago, you sat there and said, I went to the Union Brothers here and told them to back off, they're right here and they'll tell you that never occurred. There is no PLA also.
Okay.
There is no PLA, and that's what I want to let you know.
Mr. Quiller, thank you. Any,
Everyone, sorry. I do gotta say this. I apologize to every one of you for barging in like that. I do. That's not me. But when somebody talks about my reputation or my wife, you're damn right I'm gonna come up and protect her and myself.
thank you.
Apologize to all of you. Thank you.
Council, do we have any other additional questions about item 129? I'm not sure if we read it into the record, so hearing none, I will assign 129 of 2025 as ordinance 129 of 2025, and ask Ms. Snyder to please read it into the record.
Authorizing the mayor and finance director to issue a purchase order to the Oregon Economic Development Foundation, 4350 Navarre Avenue, Suite C, Oregon, Ohio, to provide matching funds of $30,000 for the demolition and site revitalization grant received by the Oregon Jerusalem Historical Society.
Thank you. Council,
Mr. President,
Mr. Horniak.
I move for passage of ordinance 129 of 2025.
Thank you, Mr. Horniak.
Second.
Second by Mr. Drake. We have a motion by Mr. Horniak, second by Mr. Drake. Ms. Snyder, will you please take a roll call vote of council?
Mr. Horniak?
Yes.
Mr. Drake?
Yay.
Mrs. Ackerman?
Abstaining per Ms. Purpura's request.
Mrs. Pauloff?
Abstain.
Mr. Reeves?
Yes.
Mr. Solander?
As advised, I abstain.
Mr. Wallensack?
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 129 of 2025 does pass with a vote of 4 yeas and 3 abstentions. No nays. Our next item on the agenda for passage is item number 130. Mr. Roman, do you want to talk on 130, 131? Then we can just keep going if you have any questions on the ones that you have.
We're all good with all of them.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, there's nothing to add to these. If
Thank
there's
you.
any
Then we're
questions,
just
I will
going to
answer.
roll right through them.
Perfect, thank you.
No. you gotta separate.
Separate? Thank you. Okay. The next item on the agenda for passage is item number 130 of 2025, previously presented by Mayor Safarian and Finance Director Nick Roman, and Mr. Roman has nothing else to add. So, council, are there any additional questions on item 130 of 2025? Hearing none, I will assign item 130 of 2025 as ordinance 130 of 2025 and ask Ms. Snyder to read it into the record.
Levying special assessments for the property owner's share of the cost of maintaining the drainage facilities and Heritage Estates, Park Place, Hickory Shores, Cardinal Estates, The Vineyard, The Drake, Fox Gate, Bay Meadows, Park Glande, Haley Hollow 1 and Haley Hollow 2 subdivisions for the year 2024 for a total amount of $17,019.33.
Council.
Mr. President,
Mr. Drake.
I move for passage of item 130, 2025, as written. For passage, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Drake.
Second.
Second by Mr. Salander. We have a motion by Mr. Drake, second by Mr. Salander. Ms. Snyder, would you please take a roll call vote of council?
Mr. Drake?
Yay.
Mr. Solander?
Yay.
Mrs. Ackerman?
Yay.
Mr. Horniak?
Yes.
Mrs. Pauloff?
Mrs. Pollux just stepped away.
Mr. Reeves?
Yes.
Mr. Wallensack?
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 130 of 2025 does pass with a vote of 6 yeas and 0 nays. Our next item on the agenda for passage is item 131 of 2025, previously presented by Mayor Safarian and our Finance Director, Mr. Roman. Mr. Roman has nothing further to add. Council, are there any additional questions on item 131? Hearing none, I will assign 131 as ordinance 131 of 2025 and ask Ms. Snyder to please read it into the record.
Levying specially assessments for the property owner's share of the cost of maintaining the sanitary sewer lines in the city of Oregon, Ohio for the year 2024 in the amount of $530,821.08.
Thank you, council.
Mr. President,
Mr. Drake.
I move for passage of item 131-2025.
Thank you, Mr. Drake.
Second.
Second by Mr. Salander. We have a motion by Mr. Drake, second by Mr. Salander. Ms. Snyder, will you please take a roll call vote of council?
Mr. Drake?
Yay.
Mr. Solander?
Yay.
Mrs. Ackerman?
Yay.
Mr. Horniak?
Yes.
Mrs. Pauloff?
yes,
Mr. Reeves?
Yes.
Mr. Wallensack?
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 135 of 2025 does pass with a vote of 7 yeas to 0 nays. We'll move on to the next item for passage is item number 132 of 2025, previously presented by Mayor Safarian and Finance Director, Mr. Nick Roman. Mr. Roman has nothing else to add. So council, are there any additional questions on item 132 of 2025? Hearing none, I will assign item 132 of 2025 as ordinance 132 of 2025 and ask Ms. Snyder to please read it into the record.
Levying special assessments for the property owner's share of the cost of lighting the streets and public ways in the city of Oregon, Ohio for the year 2024 in the amount of $328,796.94.
Thank you. Council.
Mr. President,
Mr. Drake.
I move for passage of item 132-2025.
Thank you.
Second.
Second by, was that Mrs. Ackerman?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Ackerman. Thank you, Mr. Drake. Ms. Snyder, will you please take a roll call vote of council?
Mr. Drake?
Yeah.
Mrs. Ackerman?
Yay.
Mr. Horniak?
Yes.
Mrs. Pauloff?
yes,
Mr. Reeves?
Yes.
Mr. Solander?
Yay.
Mr. Wallensack?
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 132 of 2025 does pass with a vote of 7 yeas, 0 nays. The next item on the agenda for passage is item 133, previously of 2025, previously presented by Mayor Safarian and Finance Director Nick Roman. Mr. Roman has nothing further. So council, are there any additional questions or concerns on item 133 of 2025? Hearing none, I will assign item 133 of 2025 as ordinance 133 of 2025 and ask Ms. Snyder to read it into the record.
Levying special assessments for the cost of unpaid water and sewer accounts in the city of Oregon, Ohio for the year 2024 in the amount of $794.46.
Thank you. Council.
Mr. President,
Mr. Drake.
I move for passage of item 133-2025.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Salander. We have a motion by Mr. Drake, second by Mr. Salander. Ms. Snyder, will you please take a roll call vote of council?
Mr. Drake?
Yay.
Mr. Solander?
Yay.
Mrs. Ackerman?
Yay.
Mr. Horniak?
Yes.
Mrs. Pauloff?
yes,
Mr. Reeves?
Yes.
Mr. Wallensack?
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 133 of 2025 does pass with a vote of 7 yeas, 0 nays. Our next item on the agenda for passage is item 134 of 2025, previously presented by Mayor Safarian and Finance Director Nick Roman. Mr. Roman has nothing to add. Council, are there any additional questions on item 134 of 2025? Hearing none, I will assign item 134 of 2025 as ordinance 134 of 2025 and ask Ms. Snyder to please read it into the record.
Levying special assessments for the cutting of noxious weeds in the city of Oregon, Ohio for the year 2024 in the amount of $5,003.20.
Thank you. Council.
Mr. President,
Mr. Drake.
I move for passage of item 134-2025.
Thank you, Mr. Drake.
Second.
Second by Mr. Salander. We have a motion by Mr. Drake, second by Mr. Salander. Ms. Snyder, will you please take a roll call vote of council?
Mr. Drake?
Yay.
Mrs. Salander?
Yay.
Mrs. Ackerman?
Yay.
Mr. Horniak?
Yes.
Mrs. Pauloff?
yes,
Mr. Reeves?
Yes.
Mr. Wallensack?
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 134 of 2025 does pass with a vote of 7 yeas to 0 nays. The next item on the agenda for passage is item number 135 of 2025, previously presented by Mayor Safarian and Finance Director Nick Roman. Mr. Roman has nothing to add. Council, are there any additional questions on item 135 of 2025? Hearing none, I will assign item 135 of 2025 as ordinance 135 of 2025 and ask Ms. Snyder to please read it into the record.
Leveling a special assessment for the abatement of a public nuisance located at 2665 Navarre Avenue in the city of Oregon, Ohio, in the amount of $600.
Thank you. Council,
Mr. President,
Mr. Drake.
I move for item 135, 2025.
Thank you, Mr. Drake.
Second.
Second by Mr. Salander. Thank you, Mr. Salander. We have a motion by Mr. Drake, second by Mr. Salander. Ms. Snyder, will you please take a roll call vote of council?
Mr. Drake?
Yay.
Mr. Salander?
Yay.
Mrs. Ackerman?
Yay.
Mr. Horniak?
Yes.
Mrs. Pauloff?
yes,
Mr. Reeves?
Yes.
Mr. Wallensack?
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 135 of 2025 does pass with a vote of 7 yeas to 0 nays. The next item on the agenda for passage is item number 136 of 2025, previously presented by Mayor Safarian and Finance Director Nick Roman. Mr. Roman has nothing to add. Council, any additional questions or item, on item 136 of 2025? Hearing none, I will assign item 136 of 2025 as ordinance 136 of 2025 and ask Ms. Snyder to read it into the record.
Leveling a special assessment for the abatement of a public nuisance located at 145 North Fargo Street in the city of Oregon, Ohio, in the amount of $7,250.
Thank you, Ms. Snyder. Council,
Mr. President,
Mr. Drake.
I move for item 136, 2025.
Thank you.
Second.
Second by Mr. Sandlander. We have a motion by Mr. Drake, second by Mr. Sandlander. Thank you both. Ms. Snyder, will you please take a roll call vote of council?
Mr. Drake?
Yay.
Mr. Salander?
Yay.
Mrs. Ackerman?
Yay.
Mr. Horniak?
Yes.
Mrs. Pauloff?
yes,
Mr. Reeves?
Yes.
Mr. Wallensack?
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 136 of 2025 does pass with a vote of 7 yeas to 0 nays. Our next item on the agenda for passage is item number 137 of 2025, previously presented by Mayor Safarian and Public Service Director Paul Roman. Mr. Roman, do you have anything to add?
I have nothing to add, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Roman. Council, are there any additional questions on item 137 of 2025? Hearing none, I will assign item 137 of 2025 as ordinance 137 of 2025 and ask Ms. Snyder to please read it into the record.
Authorizing the mayor to submit applications to the Ohio Public Works Commission for financial assistance from the State Capital Improvements Fund and the Local Transportation Improvement Program Fund, and to execute contracts for approved funding from said funds, programs, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Ms. Snyder. Council,
Mr. President,
Mr. Salander.
I'd like to make a motion for passage of ordinance 137 of 2025 as an emergency measure.
Thank you, Mr. Salander.
Second.
Second by Mr. Wallensack. We have a motion by Mr. Salander, a second by Mr. Wallensack. Thank you. Ms. Snyder, will you please take a roll call vote of council?
Mr. Salander?
Yay.
Mr. Wallensack?
Yes.
Mrs. Ackerman?
Yes.
Mr. Drake?
Yay.
Mr. Horniak?
Yes.
Mrs. Pauloff?
yes,
Mr. Reeves?
Yes. Thank you. Ordinance 137 of 2025 does pass with a vote of 7 yeas to 0 nays. The next item on the agenda for consideration and passage is item number 138 of 2025, presented by Mayor Safarian and our Public Service Director, Paul Roman. Mr. Roman.
Thank you, Mr. President. This ordinance is needed to pay rail pros providing flagging services and construction monitoring, to have the city's contractor, HPH, bore a water line underneath Norfolk Southern's railroad tracks on Wynn Road. The flagging services, the monitoring of construction was required as a condition of the city's railroad permit. There is a memo explaining the work. and railroad's invoices are included in Exhibit A. And really, the reason for the deadline is not only to pay our bills, obviously, but I also have to have all legislation done for this project because it's also part of your OPWC submittals that you have to show that you're getting your other jobs done in time and meeting those deadlines. But I do want to comment, I did mention this project earlier tonight, and I just want to commend Andrea Beard. Not only did we design this in-house, it is a team effort. You know, Mary Wolf is involved, certainly I'm involved, but it was done in-house. It was done where we're not going to have a change order beyond the original contract amount. So that's a great thing. So that is a savings to the city. So anyways, happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Roman. Council. Hearing no comments or questions, I will assign item 138 of 2025 as ordinance 138 of 2025 and ask Ms. Snyder to please read it into the record.
Authorizing the Mayor, Director of Public Service, and Finance Director to issue a purchase order and payment to Rail Pros Field Services Incorporated, P.O. Box 5205, Denver, Colorado, in the amount of $30,849 for flagging services and construction monitoring for the waterline replacement program, Seaman Road, Norden Road, and Wynn Road project, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Ms. Snyder. Council.
Mr. President,
Mr. Salander.
I would like to make a motion for passage of ordinance 138 of 2025 as an emergency measure.
Thank you, Mr. Salander.
Second.
Ms. Pauloff? Thank you, Ms. Pauloff. We have a motion by Mr. Salander, second by Ms. Pauloff. Ms. Snyder, would you please take a roll call vote of the council?
Mr. Salander?
Yay.
Mrs. Pauloff?
Yes.
Mrs. Ackerman?
Yay.
Mr. Drake?
Yay.
Mr. Horniak?
Yes.
Mr. Reeves?
Yes.
Mr. Wallensack?
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 138 of 2025 does pass with a vote of 7 yeas to 0 nays. Having considered all items on the agenda for this evening, we will now move on to the mayor's report.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I have a few promotions and hires from the Recreation Department. I'll ask council's concurrence first, and these two individuals are going from Classification 1, Step 3 to Classification 3, Step 1 at $15.25 an hour. These next two people, Kennedy Carlin and Emma Martin, and I'd ask council's concurrence in the promotion of those two individuals effective August 11th, 2025.
I will, since it's my committee, I will
Move to concur.
move to concur with the mayor's appointments or movements of Kennedy Carlin and Emma Martin to Step 1 and Step 1 each of Supervisor Classification 3, effective date of August 11th, 2025. Second by Mr. Wallensack. Council, any objections? Hearing none, Mayor, council concurs.
And these next two individuals, and their startup date would be August 11th, 2025. Also, to Facility Supervisor, Classification 4, Step 1, Noah Cook of 1127 North Stadium Road, Step 1, 17 an hour, and Ashley Segreo of 24170 James Ridge Road, Millbury, also Step 1, 17 an hour, and ask council's concurrence in their appointment effective August 11th, 2025.
Council, I will concur with the mayor's appointment or hires of Noah Cook and Ashley Saragaro. Step 1, both at $17 an hour, and their startup date is August 11th of 2025. Second by Mr. Wallensack. Council, any objections? Hearing none, Mayor, council concurs.
Thank you, council. And next is a fire department resignation, and I'd ask council's concurrence in the accepting of the resignation of Jacob Bruce, effective July 30th, 2025.
Council.
Mr. President,
Mrs. Pauloff.
I move to concur with the mayor's resignation, accepting the resignation of Jacob Bruce, from the Fire Department effective July 30th, 2025.
Thank you, Ms. Pauloff.
Second.
Second by Mr. Salander. Council, any objection? Hearing none, Mayor, council concurs.
And the next three individuals are appointments that will be to going to the fire department, part-time firefighter, 2 EMTs, and they would be paid at an hourly rate of $22.6693 for shift work and $29.748 to all other hours. And these three individuals are Nicholas Zimmerman, Logan Perry, and Kendall Lingenkugel. And I'd ask council's concurrence in the appointment of those three individuals to the position I stated, effective August 11th, 2025.
Council.
Mr. President,
Mrs. Pauloff.
I am moved to concur with the mayor's appointment to the part-time fire department, or part-time firefighters in the fire department. Nicholas Zimmerman, Logan Perry, and Kendall Linnenkugel, effective date August 12th, 2020.
11th.
August 11th? Is 12? Yeah, it's 12.
Oh, yeah, it's like started. All right.
So
Sorry.
it's the 12th. Thank you, Mrs. Pauloff. Do we have Mr. Salander? Council, we have a motion by Mrs. Pauloff, second by Mr. Salander. Any objections? Hearing none, Mayor, council concurs.
And the next two individuals are, I'd ask council's concurrence in the appointment of both these individuals to firefighter 2 paramedics. And that is a hourly rate of $27.5165 for shift work and $29.7480 to all other hours. And their effective startup date is also August 12th. And the first individual is Andrew Slife, and the next individual is Tyler Petzenberger. And I'd ask council's concurrence in the appointment of both those individuals, once again, to firefighter 2 paramedic, Oregon Fire and Rescue.
Thank you. Council.
Mr. President,
Mrs. Pauloff.
I move to concur with the mayor's appointments to these two individuals as part-time firefighter 2 paramedics in the fire department, and that goes to Andrew Slife and Tyler Pinsenbarger, and their starting date is August 12th, 2025.
Thank you, Mrs. Pauloff.
Second.
Second by Mr. Salander. Thank you, Mr. Salander. Council, any objections? Mayor, council concurs.
And with that, I would conclude my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Major.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll be real brief. The America 250 Committee, only 2 council members spoke that, said anything that they wanted to be a part of it. So Ms. Ackerman and Mr. Reeves were the only 2 at this point. So what I was planning to do is reach out to the 4 residents that have expressed interest so far and a member of the Oregon Jerusalem Historical Society, convene a meeting and talk about next steps, see if we want to try to get more people to be on the committee or whatever. You know, I mean, there's a lot of things we have to talk about, but I think that's a good starting point for everybody, and maybe periodically one of us can report back to council on the progress.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Mr. President, would
Yes.
Mr. Major please say the term for 250th, please?
Yes, it's the semi-quincentennial
Thank you.
celebration of
I'm
the
still
United
practicing,
States.
so I'm just impressed. Thank you.
I might not ever get that right. Is that it, Mr. Major? Thank you. Ms. Pepora?
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Pepora. Mr. Roman?
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Roman. Mr. Horniak?
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Horniak. Mrs. Pauloff?
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I want to thank everybody who had a hand in Boomfest. It was very successful, and everyone did Oregon very proud. Secondly, I know it's a hot subject sometimes, but I've been contacted all weekend by people who really don't want to be on the community pages anymore because of the volatility that's on there. So is there any way that we can post somewhere, even in the Metro Press or in water bills, for people to be able to receive an agenda every week, and then they can read it, and if they have questions, they can come into council, and they can go to contact us at OregonOhio.org and give their name and their email address, and they will receive an agenda every week. There is a massive amount of people who are turning away from Facebook. So, yeah, I really feel what they're saying, and I think going that route, even those who just work with emails, they're just happy to get that information and be aware of everything that's going on in the city. So if we could get that out there somehow, that would be great. And that'll end my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Paulo. Mr. Wallenczak.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have nothing for my standing committee, but I do want to say, at times, we have frustrated residents come before us and speak, and giving them a voice to be heard. Sometimes it may not get resolved the way that the resident feels that they want it resolved, but we do owe it to our residents to be heard. And I think we did a good job today letting our residents be heard. I do want to, in the frustration of Mr. Gray in this project, I have had chances to work and maybe not work directly with Mr. Gray, but he does do quality work. He does have a good reputation in his industry. He's frustrated with this project and how it went down, and I just want him to know that he is respected in his field and he does do quality work. And I think people have to understand that this frustration under this one contract is one thing, but he does do quality work, and I just want people to understand that he does do quality work. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wallenczak. Mrs. Ackerman.
Mr. President, I want to remind everyone that they are invited to join us at the Tree Commission meeting on August 19th at 4 p.m. in the community room, which is near the police station. I would like someone, probably Mr. Roman possibly, I'm not sure because it's a legal matter, an update for our garbage pickup. I don't know, I'm sure the rest of you are also getting a lot of messages on Facebook about, hey, where's my garbage going to get, when and what is going on. The brief synopsis I've given is there is a labor dispute, and some workers are choosing not to go over the picket line, and so we're just, what's the mayor's favorite word? Being patient. We need your patience. So can someone give us an update? I'm sure you know more than I do about where this stands.
Mr. President, if I could.
Mr. Roman.
I don't know how much more I can give. I do know we have not received any other correspondence or emails since last week, so I am planning to put my garbage out tonight, so hopefully it gets picked up in the morning. But no, so not the Republic Services, their union in particular was not on strike, but there was a strike in Indiana, I believe. Illinois. And, well, their members showed up at the Monroe office of Republic in Michigan, and I think those drivers chose not to cross a picket line, and that's why we had that snag. But it wasn't their union. I'm sure there's contract language that they have with their union that if, hey, you're not the ones on strike. So obviously it was a small bump and dispute within our service contract, obviously Toledo and Maumee and everyone else, but I have not heard any other correspondence. I'm expecting normal garbage pickup this week, so.
Mr. Roman, a citizen just gave me an update from
Okay, so you probably know more than me.
Per Channel 13.
There you go.
Teamsters Local 179 has reached a tentative agreement with Republic Services, ending the pickets at the Erie, Michigan facility. Looks like they've reached a tentative agreement in Ottawa, Illinois. Shortly after the agreement was reached, the picketers were told to stand down. Bob Jolly said that regular drivers should be returning to work. Jolie said the union will be voting on the agreement Tuesday. There still may be some intermittent delays, but they're working on getting back in the groove, so. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. You
She
know,
said it just popped up.
yeah, and that's fine, that's fine. No, it's good. I think too, the fact that they're told to stand down, that means those drivers that went to their this Michigan office, they won't be there tomorrow, so.
Right,
You know,
so-
you would hope everything would be normal.
But hopefully toward a peaceful end. I did want to get that, and then I did want to say that I wanted to lead with this, I meant to. The citizen resident that was missing, he has been located and I believe is safe. So for those that were following that, he has been located, and so I think we'll all be happy to know that. He had a dementia patient, so I mean, how scary would that be? I was going to go on Facebook, as I want to do, and share just what a great time I had at Boomfest. I had 4 events on Saturday. My husband and I had to divide duties on that one and tried to make them all. But I got there in time for Chris Shutters and for the Yacht Rock Band, and I was having a really good time. And just visiting with people, it cooled down. It was very pleasant out. Everybody seemed to be having a nice time. And my husband contacted me, said, hey, we're gonna go watch the fireworks from this other vantage point. So I went to leave to meet up with him. When I heard, and it's like I really struggle because it's like, how do you convey how painful something is or how scary something is and not use the language that the person used. But I wanted to share that here because it's somebody that has repeatedly and admittedly called me very horrible things to the point of it is harassment. It is absolutely menacing. It's harassment. I was doing nothing to the person. I didn't even see the person. And I heard, you're a miserable effing see you next Tuesday, to put it nicely. And then I heard it, and it was a dear close friend of the mayor's, and I believe a business associate. And then I heard it again. I couldn't see where it was coming from. So I was walking to leave to go meet my husband, and I saw Mr. Dabish standing there, so I didn't see the person who was saying it. And as I got past Mr. Dabish, who's considerably taller, I saw that it was PJ Caphammer, and he said it again. And I said to him, are you talking to me? And I was hoping he was saying that to someone else. But he's like, yeah, you miserable effing, see you next Tuesday. Very loudly in a family setting at a very nice, very pleasant evening with the citizens. It was unnecessary. It's just one more incident. I'm saying this on record because that way maybe somebody will take notice and, you know, it just, if I say anything, it's been blown under the rug. When I've been verbally attacked and terrified by Mr. Caphammer before, people lied and said that the incident didn't occur. And even though I have physical evidence saying that yes, he did say that and doubled down and said he knew that night I would be calling the police. And yet people lied about what took place. Well, here we are. Now I'm a seated council person. And maybe, you know, I guess it ruined the evening for me because it really was, Mr. Mayor. It was a nice evening. It was really nice. I was enjoying myself, and I saw that a lot of other people were also. But being verbally accosted like that with no provocation on my part was unnecessary. And unfortunate for my experience of the evening. But other than that, it was I really thought it was a nice evening. And thank you for all that worked on it. I'm sorry it was overshadowed that way. As far as what, I did have some other questions for the OEDF director since she was here about the houses over in the town center, but we can do that another time. Okay, come on up, if you guys got time.
If you would, just name and address,
Rebecca
please.
Bennett, would you like my real address or my Oregon office address?
You can give them both.
You can give your business one.
Okay,
That'd be
4350 Navarre, Suite C.
Thank you.
Thank you. I was wondering, I've been following the town center. I think the houses are cute, what are there. I've had a question for a long time, though, about the contract that OEDF entered into with, and I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. It's Nick Ide, but his business is Geyde.
It's just his last name with a G,
Got
Guide.
G,
Yep.
okay. We entered into, your organization, which is technically us in part, entered into a relationship, into a contract where he gets to purchase the lots that the houses are to be built on, and then is he solely the locator of the builder of those homes, or?
He's the developer,
He's the
yep, so that's his
developer.
job, yep.
So his input is just to find the builder, because we've already provided the infrastructure, correct?
I don't know what you're asking.
What is his role other than picking a builder for those homes?
His role is to find the builder of the homes.
So then we sell him, this is just something that's weighed on my mind for a long time. We sell him, for example, and you can find all this on the Aries, we sell them in lots of 6 parcels. So it's, for, say, one example, 120,000, he gets 6 parcels. He sells them to the builder for $347,898 at a profit of almost $40,000 per lot, and all he's doing is bringing the builder to the site.
That sounds like a conversation you should have with Nick Ide. That sounds like a question you're asking.
Well, no, that's a contract that you entered into, your organization entered into.
Where you sell him the lots for
Yes,
$20,000,
yes.
like you just said.
Yeah.
So what's your
he makes almost
question?
40. So since you're going to change builders, do I have that correct? You're no longer using Hovanian, you've got a different builder?
He did get a second builder,
Okay.
yes.
Well, is it possible to get the price of those homes down so they sell better?
That would be a question for Nick Ide.
Okay, not for my OEDF representatives?
I don't sell the homes.
Okay.
I'm not the developer. That would be a
Okay.
question for Nick
I'm
Ide.
just hoping to, it's.
Well, I don't even ask him that because that's not my business, so.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
it's those details that the citizens want, because
It's not details for
Yeah.
citizens, it's the developer for him to sell.
No, it's, if they're making almost 40 grand and the houses aren't moving
Well-
that fast, I think you need to revisit that relationship.
That would be something that you should talk to Nick about.
Oh, I'm gonna talk to my OEDF people, because that's who made the contract with him.
We have done our part with that, and then it's his job to sell the lots. And then after he sells the lots, it's the job of the K. Havanian, and then the new people that will be going into contract with him. But those are the conversations for them based on the housing market or the plans that they have for the houses. But that's not anything that we would benefit on, and that's not anything that we set. That would be a question for Nick Ide.
Okay, thank you. I was just trying to make the homes more affordable for the average citizen. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think that's the end of my report. Thank you. Oh, and I wanted to say one last thing. Thank you to the City of Oregon for being persistent in getting that second half of the Freeway Plaza. Get you guys taking care of that and getting that eyesore out of there, because it's hard to not see the Freeway Plaza there and be able to go in there and get a bite to eat. So I'd rather see it all gone. So thank you for being persistent with that.
Thank you, Ms. Ackerman. Mr. Salander.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nothing from my standing committee. I just want to thank the citizens that came out this evening. Some have left since, but for coming out and having your voices heard. It is important. I feel it's important that we have that back and forth dialogue I hope we can have more conversation regarding the data center so that we can have that honest and open, respectful conversation back and forth, so that we can at least get to the point where we're hearing each other. I feel like there's talking, but there's listening, but no hearing at times. So, but thank you very much for coming out. I do appreciate it, and that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sandler. Mr. Drake?
Yeah, I just got a couple things. Is there any way we could get a new microphone or sound system? I have trouble, I got pretty good hearing. That's one of the good traits I still have in my body, but is there any way we could maybe get a different microphone or something louder? A couple.
At the podium?
Yeah, at the podium. It reminds me of when I watched the old Bob Barker microphone type. And I'm sure I'm not the only one, but I just wanted to bring that up. And then something else too, Joel. I know you and Mr. Lambrick, before, not too long ago, started with the banners on like Route 2 and stuff. And I just want to say that I've talked to numerous veterans. I've had about 5 or 6 of them tell me they would get me a picture, no cost to them, because you guys got donations and whatever. And for some reason, I'm led to believe they're going to get me the pictures, but they haven't. And I just wondered if, I know you guys spent a lot of time with it, and I was just wondering if there's some way, you know, we could advertise it better. A lot of them don't know nothing about it, and some of them they think I might be trying to trick them, which I'm not, but I think it'd be neat, because I just went through a lot of cities in the last week down by Columbus Grove, and every little town you go through has those banners, and it's cool looking. And I know, you know, you guys have been trying to get people. I don't know if you're having trouble too to get them to turn in whatever info, and I tell them there's no cost, so I just was curious about that.
Mr. President, Mr. Drake, yeah, so the first batch is in production. We actually just received the last donation that put us in the range of, this is fully funded now. So I believe we have 44 banners. They're double-sided, so it's really 22 banners. But we have room for 160 submittals total. So there is room for more, and yeah, it's been, actually, that's been the biggest struggle, is actually finding people that would submit pictures and name, rank, branch of service, and year of conflict. That's been the toughest. Getting that information has been the biggest struggle. A lot of people have loved ones, but they have to dig out a picture from somewhere, and it's, they maybe have a hard time finding it or whatever. Or you have somebody, if you ask a veteran directly, they say, I don't want my picture on a banner. I'm okay. You know what I mean? There's some pride there. And, that's a lot of the feedback that we've received is a little bit of both of those. But yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, getting the word out is really important. We kind of blitzed it on Facebook quite a bit. And we're trying not to spend any donor money on advertising for it, but we're hoping that the service organizations in town would help us out with drumming up some more submittals. So, I mean, I think that would be the best way, my opinion.
Okay, and I'm sure you've thought of it, or I don't know if you've done it, but have you ever considered, because I don't do Facebook, like the Metro Press, run an ad in there? I think that's pretty effective. I see a lot of people grabbing it, walking up to their house. As they're walking up, they're reading it. I know you want to save money for stuff, but on the other hand, it does no good if they're not being made. And also, I was curious, and I'm sure you guys talk to other little cities. Seems like the smaller ones are real good with it. Did you find maybe I shouldn't even ask you this now, but I thought of it. There's a lot of banners in some of these small towns like McClure or whatever, village, township, whatever they are. And, they'll have like 30 or 40 banners, and I'm thinking, you know, this is either was a big area for veterans, but are they, you know, and you're going by them so fast that you can't really see the names. I mean, is it common to have like multiple pictures of, say, Mr. Baker, or do you just do one, or is it too early to tell just because you don't have a lot?
Sorry, I guess I'm not understanding.
The
Do you mean
banners,
The
like-
banners, so one picture on one side
Right? One on
with
the
the
other.
name, rank, and area of conflict, and a different picture on the other side.
Okay.
They're double-sided, so
I guess my question was, and I did confuse you, I'm sorry. Do they just put one banner up, say Mr. Baker, I know he was a veteran. They put one picture up, or do they put like one at this end of town, one at the other end of town?
it's just one.
Just one, okay, all right. Some of them towns have a lot of veterans.
Yeah, and the service organizations are the ones that I've seen that come up with the names and get the pictures, because they already have a lot of them.
So you're saying like a VFW?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, VFWs and Legion posts, usually in the,
Okay, thank you.
yep.
That's it, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Drake. I have nothing from my standing committee, but I would like to give kudos or whatever, how nice Boomfest was. Even though, I mean, nobody hates the heat worse than me and the humidity. It was comfortable. There was a breeze, and I want to thank our police force, our fire department for all the hard work that they did, our street department, also the rec, you know, cleaning up and things like that. So it was a very, very good event, and the fireworks were spectacular. So, Mr. Mayor, thank you, and your committee and everything that had worked on it. So with that being said, oh, and especially Kelly Wolf. If there is no further business before council, I will seek a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Paulo. Second. Mr. Horniak, thank you. This meeting is adjourned.